Happy Friday, everyone. I am joined by three MMA fighters here from Alexander Academy. They are located in Elkhart, Indiana. So we've got three local MMA fighters here tonight looking to steal the show tonight. Starting first, I've got one of them is Bishop. I've got AJ. And what's up? And I've got the most recent MMA performing fighter. I guess I'll let you introduce yourself, man.
My name's Jordan Santiago. Been fighting for the last 2 years pretty consistently, so I'm excited to be on this and just kind of share my story a little bit, man.
Hell yeah, man. So we're all about the humble beginnings here. So how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. So do you see yourself following this as a dream? Like, is this something that you're saying, man, I really want to see where this goes?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's been about a year now, and I actually quit my job. So I've been doing this. Yeah. So I live at home, which sounds pathetic, but
where else would you live, man? Home is home, bro. Home
exactly.
is where you make it.
I mean,
bro.
I'm with my parents, and I saved up money, quit my job, and I've been going at it for the last year, just trying to get as many fights as I can. But we hit a little bit of rut, so I finally had one just a couple weeks ago. And
how did that go?
Everyone else says I did good, but personally, I guess you're your own worst critic, right? I didn't win. I lost to a decision. But what I didn't know was he was number one in the state. I just found that out a couple days ago. So we aim for the big fish,
So do you think it's better not to know those things? You'd rather fight the man in front of you than the statistics?
I don't like looking at videos. I don't like knowing. I don't like seeing his face. I'm a person that I'm just going to shut up, train, do what my coach tells me to do, and I'm going to show up and fight. That's just my mentality. I don't like getting into, talking on Facebook and stuff like that. I think it just messes with your head too much, and I just want to be focused on my training and what I need to go in there and do.
That's awesome, man. So you're saying fight the man in the cage and not the statistics and all the other shit that can get into your head.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, anything can happen in a fight, right?
Hell yeah.
You watch videos of guys getting knocked out left and right, and you go and fight that dude that's knocking everyone out. Doesn't mean you can't throw that knockout either.
That's right, man. Everybody's got a puncher's chance, right?
Exactly.
And you guys, Bishop and AJ, were you guys the cornermen? Were you there that night? What role did you guys play?
Well, I guess in that situation, I was actually watching on pay-per-view and really rooting you on, Jordan, and watching at the same time. I couldn't make it just because I had lost my ID originally, so they wouldn't let me into the casino.
I like this team. I really like this team.
Nah, man, you can't get in.
But yeah, honestly, you did really well with your technique. There's just some aggression that needs to show. Just a little bit more aggression, and we're there, And that's what's coming for the next fights. And what is that? On Memorial Day?
Yeah. So HFC was the promotion that.
Okay, HFC.
Hoosier Fight Club.
Okay.
Were the ones that put on the show, and that one was at the Horseshoe, but they also do fights at the Blue Chip Casino.
Got it.
So this one was at the Horseshoe, and they already told me they want me back, which is a positive thing.
Yeah.
And, my coach told me, he's like, you walked out of there with way more fans than you did walking in. So don't hold your head down. Keep it up high. You actually did really good for. This guy was 5-1, and it's been over a year since my last fight, MMA fight. So, walking in there, and the biggest promotion I ever fought in.
Really?
I was small venues, maybe 100 people or so. This one was just packed full. The lights were shining, and this place actually has sent multiple people to the UFC too.
No shit.
For example, John Jones, who did he just fight? It was
Reyes.
Reyes.
Yeah, Reyes.
He came from here. He
So
fought,
Reyes.
HFC.
So wait.
Yes.
He comes from this promotion.
Yes.
And do we know what state that is in? Is that his? I'm sure it's his home state, probably. Whatever that is. I'm not going to confuse
Well,
the
they're here in Indiana, but I don't know where he's from. But I know he fought there. He held the title for HFC.
Wow.
And then he went on to the UFC and just fought John Jones. So HFC sends out stellar fighters, and that's why we stick with them.
Reyes impressed the world, son. Did you guys watch that fight?
I didn't get a chance to, but
Oh
I
my
watched
fucking
clips and
God.
stuff,
Right.
and I knew he was just
Look, I have Fight Pass, so we can look up in 30 days when that shit's out. We could do a watch party. That fight is amazing, and I think there's a lot to learn about what Reyes did, man. You guys should check it out. So HFC stands for, do you
Hoosier
know?
Fight Club. Yep.
So it's a Hoosier thing. That is so dope. Anyway, so this promotion was how many people? You said.
Oh, this one was a couple hundred people.
Yeah, there's a lot
Plus
of people.
pay-per-view. So.
Plus pay-per-view, yeah.
So there's actually like an online streamer you can buy to
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
these
you-
fights.
Yep. Lights, camera,
So, like,
action.
I had my sister all the way down in Kentucky watching this fight. I had friends from, here watching them, like Bishop. And
Yeah.
a lot of the teammates, a lot of the kids that I help with in kids class. So a lot of them were watching it on TV for me.
That must have been amazing. So knowing that you had the kids behind you and a lot of things, what were the nerves like in terms of, the moment of, because there's a lot of things we do the night before a fight where we're like, okay, you start envisioning how the fight's going to play out, how you're going to play into your strengths, whatever it is you do, right? Which we'll get into. This is the fascinating part about fighting that I think beats, like no sport beats it, is that mindset before fighting. So I guess you could start off with moment of the fight when it was ready to go, that numbing feeling that takes over, or maybe lack thereof. Were you relaxed? What was the pressure like?
Man, this one was different than the other fights. I knew it was a big promotion. I knew this was a big fight too. And I just knew I had a lot more people backing me up, which helped. Definitely helped. But in all honesty, it was a lot harder to get in my mindset that usually, I'm a lot meaner. I have a lot more aggression. This fight, I didn't feel like I quite had it. Mentally and like physically, like I had a great camp. Phenomenal camp. But man, once I started walking out there, I was like really struggling to get myself in that mentality, with the lights and the big show and knowing, who fought there before. It kind of got to me, I can't lie, which was the most frustrating aspect because I knew I could have done so much better than what I showed. And that was probably the most upsetting thing to me about that loss was that I never felt like he really, really beat me, to be honest. Like, he never hit me where I felt like, man, this guy hits hard. These guys right here hit me way harder than that all the time.
Yeah, bro, that's awesome.
They rock me all the time, and I have to fight through. He never once hit me where it, dazed me. Even on the ground, I felt like, I got stuck in the triangle. He couldn't, put me to sleep. I was stuck there for, a whole minute and a half in the second round.
Yep.
And I didn't
Couldn't
go to sleep.
finish
And
you.
that's kind of my mentality. Is like, if I ain't sleeping, I'm fighting. So you better put me to sleep. He even got me in an armbar. I wasn't going to tap. I'm not going to tap. That's just my mentality.
Oh, shit.
I'm in it till the end. So you better put me to sleep or get the ref to stop because I'm going to keep going.
Damn, man. So he had you in multiple submission attempts, one of which was a triangle that was locked in for a minute.
Yeah, it was
change.
locked in. It was locked in pretty tight.
What kept you alive? Was it his lack of angle? Did he not cut the angle right enough?
Yeah, that was exactly what it was. In my head, I'm thinking exactly what he should be doing to finish me.
You're like,
I'm
yo, you cut this shit.
dude,
I'm dead,
if you,
bro.
cut the angle going to the leg, I'm going to be sleeping. But, a couple seconds went by, 5-10 seconds went by. I was like, I'm still not asleep. All right, let's keep fighting. I wasn't going to tap. I would say it was really hard to breathe. That almost got me. There was a second where I was like, oh, I might tap.
Oh, shit.
Just because I couldn't breathe. And, you got that adrenaline going. You're already breathing hard because you're fighting.
Right.
And then he's, kind of cutting that off by putting you in a triangle. So there was a couple of moments where I was like, but then I was like, no, screw it. He's going to have to put me to sleep or the ref's going to have to stop it because I'm not stopping.
And it was a 2-round fight?
A 3-round.
Fuck, bro. Ultimate Fighter does 2 rounds. You're doing 3 rounds already?
3-minute rounds.
Okay, so boxing rounds. But
yeah,
MMA,
yeah. So it's not the 5 minutes.
Still 9
but
minutes, though.
9 minutes of...
Still 9 minutes. That's what I'm saying. That's what the Ultimate Fighter beginning fighters do. Is 10. You pretty much are 1 minute short of what UFC professional does on the series. So it was a 3-round fight, 3 minutes each. And you said that you went to the ground. Who initiated the takedown?
I did it first. The first round, I felt like my hands were good. I was landing good body shots, good leg kicks. I felt like I was winning there. And then kind of made him close the distance, even though he was the bigger, taller dude, too. He definitely had the reach on me. But I definitely think I had more of the power. And so he closed the distance, and I just worked the takedown that I do with all these guys that we've been working for weeks. Just a simple little leg trip. Got him to the ground. But he immediately had did a butterfly sweep. Got his foot in, swept me right away. I was on my back. Didn't bother me because I actually trained quite a lot, which is kind of a bad habit of mine. But I trained quite a bit off my back, and I trapped the arm. And our association for jiu-jitsu is Marcelo Montero, and he has a move called the Marcelo that's just named after him.
Arm drag?
It's part of it. It's about the trapping the arm. So there's the arm drag. There's a bunch of different ones. So I wrap over it, and you kind of work your way out. Which, when you have the gi on, you have your chokes, you have your arm bars. You have a ton of submissions, and so that's what I've been working. Because one, it works great in MMA. You trap that arm, and you work your hips out. And I could go for arm bars. I got 2 different arm bars I could go from in that one position. I got guillotine choke.
Okay, yeah.
I got my sweeps. I got a butterfly sweep. I got just the kick the knee out, pull the arm sweep. I have triangles from there. I have so many attacks. So I wasn't worried when I got to my back on that. My problem was I played it too safe. I had a moment where I could have, I was blocking his bicep, had the arm trapped, and I could have let go of blocking the bicep and cranked on his elbow and dislocated his elbow. But instead, I kept blocking the bicep because I didn't want to get hit.
Right, you were blocking, so you trapped one arm, and then you were pretty much framing the other arm.
Framing the other arm right on it, and I was just trying to keep him from punching. I was trying to work a sweep, but I should have let go, and I should have just cranked it. Even if I even took a couple of those hits, there would have been nothing if I would have, dislocated his elbow. I could have finished the fight there. So going on the ground, I was very comfortable. I wasn't worried about it. But it was when I got out of that first round, though, I had a really bad adrenaline jump.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that, because I don't mean to cut you off, but adrenaline dumps are the worst things I've ever experienced. And again, I've never done MMA, but I've done plenty of jiu-jitsu tournaments where you think you're about to go. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, you're ready. Your mindset's ready. You got your opponent right there. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. This match has to happen now because some screwed up thing happened in another match. So we're going to fight here. You guys are next. It's a 6-minute round. I have to wait
right.
possible. And now, by the time my fight starts, I went, and now I'm getting on there.
Peak, and now you're just at your lowest.
It's almost like if you got hit, bro. So go ahead. What was that like for you? That adrenaline dump, did it happen as soon as you sat down, or did it happen when the next
as soon as the round ended and I stood up? I was like, I just felt it in my arms, and I felt it throughout my whole body. I felt like I was carrying weights. And I was like, man. And I knew my cardio was good. I was doing 5-minute rounds, the week before, doing sparring and stuff, going against guys that are 155 pounds, 170, Bishop's 170 or...
So you fight at 170, Bishop? You're a 170 guy?
Yep.
I gotta roll with you. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. We even have a guy who's like 200 pounds, Cole Wilkin, who used to fight professionally. He hasn't been in the game for the last couple of years. Even he's thinking about making a comeback too. Even Joey, Joe's little son, who's like 180, who's a beast. He's only 14, but man, he'll kick your butt.
No doubt, man. Kids learn.
So like, I was used. My cardio was good. I was used to going with these guys, but man, when that adrenaline dump hit me, it hit hard. And Cole, he was in my corner, and he saw it in my face. He's like, you got to shake it out. You got to push through this. So the second round, I think that's where I lost it. I believe I won that first round. I was shooting for submissions. I had the takedown. I was landing shots when we were standing. The second round was when I played it safe. I was trying to regain my energy.
Yeah, it's totally understandable that you would do that, especially when you feel the adrenaline dump and you have to, and you've got the first round already kind of like, okay, I got a 10-9 there. I'm pretty confident. Now I got to rest up because if this goes to a third round, I want to be ready. So go ahead.
Right. And that's when we talk about being, there's fighters and there's competitors. That first round, I was a fighter. I went at him and I didn't back down. That second round, I turned as a competitor. I was playing a little safer.
That's interesting.
I was trying to, just make it through the round where I should have been a fighter. But I just kind of went on autopilot, and I wasn't thinking quite straight. I even had a guillotine in that second round that I could have finished it. He pushed me against the cage, he put his head down, and it was right there, and I latched onto it. But what I didn't do was I should have jumped up and pulled guard. But I allowed him to pick me up and take me down, which, you know, he worked off to the side, giving him...
So he passed?
Yeah, so he
Oh,
passed.
Shit, that sucks.
And it took all the pressure off from the guillotine. So now I just lost it. I could have finished it there, too, because I felt it. It was underneath the chin.
Fuck.
So that's another thing I go back and I get frustrated about. But again, I was playing safe. I was trying to be a competitor. You know, I wasn't being a fighter at that moment. And it wasn't until about the halfway through the third round that I finally caught my second win. My hands weren't so heavy anymore, and I rocked him. I put him flat on his ass. You know, I threw a right hand. He dropped, man. And so, but the problem there was I hesitated for a second. Again, like I said, I wasn't in my right mind that night. You know, usually I'm mean as fuck. You know, I'm gonna F you up.
Yeah.
You can say that?
Oh,
you can say that?
But I didn't. I gave him a split second. And then when I finally rushed in, you know, he was able to kind of get his bearings back, and he up-kicked me. Right? Like, pretty clean up-kick, I'm not going to lie. You know, right under the chin. And I'm like, dang it. You know, I missed my opportunity of, you know, going forward the finish. You know, going for the kill. So that, you know, like I said, I made a lot of mistakes. I turned into a competitor, not a fighter. But I guarantee if we were to fight again, I'd kick his ass.
Shit. So
I don't feel he was better than me.
What round was this that you got the drop?
Third round. There's like a minute left in the third round. You know, I just threw everything I had. I heard my corner just yelling, throw the right. Because they know, like, I got a good right hand. You know, for only being, that fight was 125. So for being as light as I am, you know, I got good power. In fact, I actually knocked a dude out 2 years ago. This is my first fight back from after college. I fought a dude named Eddie Cox. And we fought...
that we fought on?
Yep.
That was the, okay.
Yep. He was that was at 145. I was supposed to fight at 135, but the dude, my original opponent, had to back out because he had a heart problem, had to go to hospital and everything. Shit. So I just looked at Wendy. I'm like, I just want to fight. Like, I don't care what weight class, 125, 135, 145. I don't care how big he is. Just find me anyone. I found this dude, Eddie Cox, who dropped all the way down to 145. And I weighed in that night with my clothes on and everything at 138.
Oh, shit.
And then that night after I fought him, he told me he was like 160 pounds. So he had a big weight advantage. But I went in and I knocked him out. Actually, I knocked his teeth out in a minute 30. So I know I got power.
Shit.
It's just that night, the adrenaline dump hit me, and I wasn't in my right mind. And, you know, I really think it was the experience. Like, my opponent had 5-1 fights.
Yeah, what's your total? What's your record if we...
It's 2-1-1.
Right, so you
I had one no contest, which that was a bullshit fight.
Yeah.
They remember that night. That was a rough one. That one was a little over a year ago. I was the first fight.
Was that in Michigan?
Yeah, it was in Michigan.
Yeah, that was the...
the Michigan fighters are dirty.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But, so I walked out, and the announcer is, like, saying her name, where we're fighting out of. And I look at my opponent, and I put my hand up. I'm like, you want to touch gloves right before we fight? And he's like, yeah. He looked at me. He's like, shook his head. He's like, yeah. I walk out there. He's standing tall. Put my hand out, and he shoots for a takedown. Right off the bat. Doesn't touch my hand. Which, you know, it's not...
It's
an unspoken
not
rule.
illegal, but...
It's not illegal. But, I mean, come on. It's, you know, kind of a sign between men. It's like, yeah, we're about to go to war. You know, we're about to fight.
So I'm going to pause there for a second. Pause you guys there for a second. I just have to... What is your take on that, on something like that, where you go to touch gloves and you agree to it? I mean, especially when you agree to it. Mm-hmm. I know this is the fight game, but at the end of the day, like, there's things that are just, I think, cowardly or I'm going to say non-gentleman. Like, do you guys consider that straight pussy shit?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I feel...
It's a cheat,
I just feel it's just dishonorable. You have no honor in what you do. No respect in yourself or the sport. You know, especially if you... Like you said, especially if you say, yeah, let's touch gloves, and then right when someone goes to touch gloves, you do a little sucker punch.
But it's legal.
It is legal, but man.
Right,
I'm
so
here to
legal.
fight. I'm not here to...
Yeah. So,
you know.
So your mentality is, fuck that. If he wants to be a piece of shit, let him be a piece of crap. I'm going to find a way to beat him no matter what he does to me.
Exactly.
All right, right. But at the same time, if we're going to reflect on it from a standpoint of morale, like morals, fuck that guy, right? Like,
Oh,
just
exactly,
straight fuck
yeah,
you. Like,
yeah.
come on, man, you got
To me, that says he needed every little advantage he could get because he wasn't ready for what I
He didn't
had
want to
for him.
stand. He did not want to stand with me that night, and I think that's why he did it. He took me right to the ground and choked me out. Actually, I went to sleep because he got my back right away, and it threw me off, man. I was not expecting that. That was like my second or third fight,
Yeah.
and so it messed with me. It threw me off, and I kind of panicked, and I gave him my back. Not even thinking. I was just like, what just happened?
Were you scrambling, trying to get
Yeah,
out?
I was just kind of scrambling, and he sunk it in, and I was like, fuck this dude. And like I said before, I'm not going to tap. So
Right.
I just started throwing punches while he was on my back, and then I went to sleep. And I woke up the next moment, like a second later, I see the lights. I'm like, immediately I was like, fuck, I lost. And I sat up, and I just looked at my corner, and I looked out in the crowd where my team was cheering for me, and I just put on a smile. I'm like, you got me.
So
you
you
know,
went out. You went
I
out.
went
So
out,
You don't
man. I
remember
was
the choke.
asleep.
You don't remember the choke.
I remember it. I remember him sinking it in. I remember throwing punches. And then I went out, and then I woke up, and I see everyone standing over me.
What was the
Like-
first thing you remember seeing when you woke up?
Just the lights above. Just it was like, is this heaven? No.
Oh man, the lights, bro.
Yeah.
Mom, 5 more minutes.
Was it a rear naked choke? I
Yeah,
can
rear
imagine.
naked
That's
choke.
about all you can get in MMA. Yeah, man. So it was what, a quick fight? You said a minute. What was it? 2 minutes in the
No, that was like
Yeah, it's like
40 seconds
yeah,
in,
it was
man.
like 30 seconds.
It was right off the bat.
because it was fake glove touch,
Yep.
shoot for a takedown, and the rest was just a scramble.
Yep,
to the
just a
submission.
scramble, and then he sunk it in, and I was done from there.
Any words exchanged between you two? Like anything like?
You know what? I'm not a guy that holds grudges.
Right.
I played it off. Like, I was pissed. I was absolutely pissed because I put a lot of work in for that fight, and I felt like I was robbed. But with that being said, I blew it off. It was done. There's nothing. I can't go back and
Right.
be like, hey, wait, let's restart the fight.
Right.
No, it was done. So, I smiled, shook his hand, so thank you. We went back to the back and we talked a little bit. He was a nice dude, but he clearly didn't want to fight. He was scared.
He wanted to, I guess, take advantage of an opportunity to.
He was
fake it.
chasing records. That's what he was doing. Because he did it a couple times afterwards.
I was like, yeah,
He had a couple
he's
more
actually-
fights, did the exact same thing.
Oh, wait a minute.
He's known in Michigan
So-
for doing that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
what a
he's
piece
chasing
of
records. He's
shit.
going for that record. But now that doesn't matter because we had that overturned. We're like, no, look at this shit. Come
So-
on. This
so-
guy is going out, pretending to touch hands and taking people to the ground and trying to finish them as quickly as possible.
So you mean to tell me that? So this was a no contest because you said was this a
Yeah,
no contest
it was-
fight
Yeah, we were able to get it turned to no contest.
because of his lack of sportsmanship?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And who decides on that? Is that the affiliation, the fight?
That has to. I thought it had to go
Yeah, it
through
might
like the
be.
whole commission or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. So was
Yeah.
what organization was this under? Was this the same one that you fight under right now, or
No, so it's the state. It's the state that runs it.
Okay.
So there's like the state commission, but then there's like people that run their own events under the state.
Gotcha.
makes sense.
And for those of you listening, all those banging you hear is because we're drinking beers, and we still don't have, a mic stand that's separate from the table just yet. So yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of beer banging down, but that's only because we're having a good time. So that was back to you, Jordan. What fight was that for you? Was that your first official fight, or
No, that was like
you said your first fight was a knockout? So right, the
Yeah.
one with the teeth was the first one. This one was what was that? The next
that
one?
was like it was the very next one.
Okay.
Later that year, I had a kickboxing fight before that,
Oh, yeah,
and
you
a
did
couple of jiu-jitsu tournaments, and then I had a fight. I think that was like in November, and yeah, that happened, and it just threw me off because I've never seen that personally. I know it happens, but to have it happen to me, man,
Right.
it threw me for a loop. I was like, what in the world happened?
Are you gonna still trust your next opponent with a glove touch, or are you gonna be
No.
trusting him with kind of like a
No,
ready to?
me and this dude that just fought, I forget his name, but we just fought 3 weeks ago. We didn't glove touch. We walked out and we were like, let's go.
So now you understand why people would refuse to do it, probably.
Yeah, like I'll show all love and respect after the fight, no matter what happens.
But until then,
But
fuck that
until
shit.
then, yeah, we're gonna fight. We're gonna try to beat the shit out of each other.
And you mentioned jiu-jitsu tournament. Do you get those same butterflies? It's got to be different. I mean, I don't know. I've never done anything besides jiu-jitsu. So again, do you guys can speak up on this too? I mean, do you guys get just as nervous in a jiu-jitsu
I have
match?
yet to compete in a jits match.
But yeah,
Neither
so
have
you
I.
go straight to MMA.
Yes.
I knew I brought some crazy people on. These are not these people right in the head. You're supposed to start like, you know what I mean, like before you skateboard, you do roller skating first or some
Yeah,
shit.
you work your way up.
Yeah, you don't just go off the long dive on the first try. But so you went straight to MMA. You said fuck that. Why? That's good, man. No, I admire it. I don't think I could ever. I'm never gonna do what you guys do. I already accepted that. I'm 31, by the way. I think my ship sailed.
25.
I appreciate it, man. I look like I'm your guys' age. I appreciate it, but nah, man. The white hairs. If I let my afro grow, you'll see white hairs, man. So again, so you went straight to MMA and
Same. I take jiu-jitsu classes with them, but I've never done a tournament. I just went straight to kickboxing and MMA.
okay. So was kickboxing first for you?
No, MMA was.
Damn, you guys are crazy. Can one of you do something that's not straight MMA? That's insane. So
We just like to fight.
all right,
man.
love
to-
We
I
love to fight.
for sure. So again, what are the differences in jitters? You know, they're obvious ones, right? Because in MMA, you know, there's actual potential for destruction, right? So I'm sure you get. Do you get? Would you say it's less nervous or just different types of nerves? I
Less
guess I'll
nervous.
ask you then, because these fuckers don't.
Yeah,
They go
definitely less nervous. Like my first jits tournament, I was super nervous because I didn't know what to expect. You know, I've never done that. You know, I've never really trained in the gi till 2 years ago when I finished college. So my first jits tournament was in gi, and it was a small tournament. I only had like 2 opponents. I was able to get gold, by the way.
Nice, man.
But yeah, I was super nervous. But then after that, I'm like, man, jits tournaments are way more relaxed, man. It's great.
Yeah.
Like you show up, there's like really no pressure. Like I didn't feel any pressure to win or anything. You know, if I lose, I'm like, oh well, I tapped. You know,
Yeah.
it's not the same as MMA. MMA, you're like, you got knees and
Okay.
no elbows because I'm an amateur, but knees, someone trying to punch you in the face constantly. I mean, it's a different sport, man. It's a different breed.
So no elbows in any of the leagues you guys fought in at all? Is that like, or is it?
Well,
Actually, the
depends.
the one with a guy who didn't touch gloves, they allowed elbows and knees for everyone.
Michigan allows
amateurs.
it.
Yeah, they fight at pro rules.
Yeah, Michigan allows the pro rules, which I kind of like.
Yeah, I liked it. Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Many elbows were
amazing.
thrown by amateurs that night.
Oh yeah, but Indiana is a little more stricter with their rules, and they don't allow it until you go pro.
Talking about a state that, like, up until what, 2 years ago, you couldn't buy alcohol on Sundays. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Right.
Yo, so I'm just a little background. I'm from Miami, so I'm from like a
Okay.
big city down all the way on the other side
Right.
of the East Coast. So when I first moved here, bro, on the first night I was here, I was like, yo, I'm gonna cook me some. I'm gonna do like a vodka pasta. I'm buying like this little shitty vodka bottle at Meyer, and the lady's like looking at me like I'm weird, and she's like, you can't buy this. I'm like,
And then you just feel
here's my
dumb,
ID.
don't you?
I'm like, bitch, I'm 21. She's like, no, that's irrelevant. I'm like, no, you're irrelevant. Give me my damn insurance. And she explains to me. She says, yo, no, you can't buy this here. I was like, what? Why? She's like, oh, because we don't sell alcohol on Sundays. And of course, that makes sense that we would be a strict state when it comes to fighting rules. I don't understand the difference. Can you throw knees in amateur?
To the
You
body.
can, just not to the face.
Oh, okay. So at least they're consistent.
Yeah. So knees to the body, no elbows to the body or head, but kicks and punches, everything's allowed. Now on the ground, I found this out. I didn't know this until I got there. The ref was back in the corner, or back in the dressing room, and he was explaining the rules, and he's like, no heel hooks or anything like that, which kind of sucks because
What?
I've been working those. He's that we were allowed to do straight ankles and knee bars. So basically, everything had to be lined up with the hip. Everything had to be straight. So there was nothing of the twisting motion, basically.
You couldn't reap, I imagine. Is that?
No, no reaping.
Oh my god, what is this, bro? This sounds like IBJJF for white belts. The fuck?
Yeah, so you couldn't do any of that. So I was a little bummed because me and Joey, my coach's little son, who's 14, who's a absolute beast, he'll kick your ass. You know, he's like 180 pounds.
I'll fight him. I'll see what's up.
He's good, man. He's really good. He's been, he was born on the mat. He's been training his whole life.
Had a gi before he had a onesie.
That's good to know.
But me and him been working a lot of legs, and then I show up and they tell me I can't do it. I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to finish it just to make him proud. I want to finish with like a nice heel hook, but it was what it was. you know, it won't be too long till I go pro and I can start throwing that.
What do you think the reason is for that? Is it because I'm new to all this. I don't know anything about local rules. I'm hearing this. My guess would be that a lot of white belts, maybe a lot of wrestlers, since we're in a very interesting umbrella here in Indiana, where it's a primarily wrestling area. A lot of people here, like Elton, right?
Yeah.
The guy that
Yep.
trains at my gym and went to your gym recently. There are just these crazy farmer wrestlers, and they have white belts in jiu-jitsu, but they're freak show grapplers. And I think that the reason they do that is because they learn a heel hook 2 months before a fight. They're still at a white belt. They don't know how to control it. They're very powerful, and leg injuries, I think, are the most devastating, right?
Oh, yeah, because it could end your career, man.
Yeah, right. Leg injuries, I mean, we see it in all sports, soccer, and you name it, right? Where it's like it's ending. So it's like, let's cut this out at the amateur level and wait till people have more control. Like, I don't know if you guys, how far you go back with the UFC, but there's a fight where Frank Mir got Brock Lesnar. He got him, I think, in a heel hook.
Yeah.
And he could have broken his shit.
Oh,
he was
for
cranking.
sure.
He was cranking it, and you could tell that Mir had.
He's a mean dude, man. I've seen him break arms in UFC.
We have Nogueira. We saw him break Heath Herring's arm in an armbar. In this particular fight, he could have broken Brock's leg. He just he didn't arch back and he didn't do the arch hard enough, and you could tell that's the sign of like a seasoned, experienced guy. And I feel like if we allow for those kind of things in amateur, I feel like we would have a lot of youngsters walking around with, surgery and lifelong injuries. I mean, an injury that will last a lifetime. So that's my take.
I agree with that, because there's a lot of people that they just watch it on TV and then they shoot for it. They don't know how to control. They don't know what they're doing.
Maybe that's
and then you F someone's life up and they can't fight anymore. I'm not trying to do that to someone. Yeah, I'm trying to fuck you up and beat you, but I'm not trying to end your whole career. I mean,
yeah,
I am a nice dude at the end of the day. I do have some morals, but.
On down that note, there's a fine line in MMA where you're told to keep punching until the referee stops you, but you're also somebody who's conscious and you don't want to hurt somebody beyond what they need to be. Are you the type? Well, nobody knows who they are, right? That's the beauty of fighting, is that your instincts kick in there.
You don't know until you're in there, man.
You become a rabbit. You become an animal in there, and but would you say that your instinct is, if you see the dude's out and the referee hasn't intervened yet, that you would are you the type to hold back? Or are you just like, okay, I'll hit him once, and if there's nothing, I mean, what do you think you're ideally, or what would you aspire to?
I don't stop.
You don't stop.
To be honest, like the dude that knocked his teeth out, I didn't stop.
Okay.
He was flat on the ground. I was still punching him till the ref.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: is some guys. How many guys have you seen get rocked
And get back up
and they get back up
right away,
and sometimes they get the knockout
and then they win.
So, me, I'm just in the mindset. I'm not stopping until I feel the ref pull me off.
And that's how we train as well too. Is basically don't stop, because that's giving your opponent the chance to recover and take the grounds. So.
Right, and I'm with that. I just think that would you agree that there's a point where maybe what would you have to see to actually break that rule?
I mean, I would say if I threw
Death.
Me personally, if he was already out and I kept hitting him, I would have to hit him to where I got winded. Like if I started to get tired punching him,
okay.
Then I'd look like, okay, I know I've been hitting him for a long time. You need to stop this. I'm getting tired.
It's like, come on, bro, please stop it.
Yeah.
I'm getting tired. I'm about to tap because I'm so tired.
No, but at that point, you yell at the referee, right? You're like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah.
What are you? Are you cheerleading?
Yeah,
What's up?
I would kind of look over as I'm still hitting because I don't want to risk it, but I'm also gonna stare at the ref and watch him watch me hit him.
That's awesome, and these are the insights that I love, man. Because you don't get to ask, you get to see all this shit on TV, and you get to see all these crazy performances, but you don't get to see a lot of the insights of people you get to just meet and hear these stories. So that's, I was gonna ask something, but I forgot. So before we continue on your path, what is a memorable moment for you cats over here? I don't want to leave you guys out of this either. What's one thing in MMA, even if you lost a fight, obviously he went through a loss that he had, but yet pride moments, whether it's a bad or good moment. What's a moment you would remember? I'll start with you. That you'd say yo, I have footage of that, and to this day, when nobody's looking, I hit play on my phone and I watch that shit again, or whatever it is for you.
Mine would have to be the first kickboxing fight I did with this team. I had a fight before with a different team, but just after I came to Alexander, and it just felt like such a family, and I felt so welcome. and it just made me train that much harder. You know, I put in countless hours of work getting ready for this kickboxing fight. This guy I was fighting, his name was Chris something, but he was supposed to be like the pride and joy of this gym. The promotion itself was being held by the gym we were fighting, and it was supposed to be like their star 125er, and I destroyed him.
Oh yeah.
All 3 rounds, kept knocking him on his ass. You know, he never stayed down, so I'll give him that. But I destroyed him, and it was more of being able to show my team, the people I look at as my family, that the work you're putting into me isn't wasted. No one's wasting their time with me.
Os.
I felt better about that than the actual win itself.
Os.
So
That's beautiful, man.
that'd be my big
We're
one.
very family oriented. You know, you come to our gym, we're gonna treat you like one of our own, man, right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah,
Like
no.
AJ joined us 2 years ago, and he became, you know, instant family.
That's a beautiful thing, man. And I agree. I think there's nothing. I can't think of a warmer feeling than when you're trying to accomplish something. You're on a one-on-one scrap, and it's just an all-out scrap, and you got people that really believe in you, yelling, "Yo, no, hook here, you got it! Like, come on!" And when you start to eat, when there's moments where you're like, "Oh man, I can't do this," and somebody tells you, "Yo, the sweep's there, you got it," and I think that transition of mindset that they can bring you just from hearing their voices, and it's people that you love and care about. You guys have drinks after training. You guys pretty much help each other. If the gym's got some renovations, you show up and work for free. This kind of like family mindset, right?
Yeah,
I think in fighting, the energy it can bring you, man. It's like that brotherly shit, man. It's some deep shit. I'm a firm believer
It's
of that.
different than any other sport, man. I've played football. I've played
And it's
basketball.
cool. We're not going to take anything away from those sports,
Yeah.
but I'm getting to how unique I would say this is, right?
I mean, it's a sport where you could truly say, you know, you bled, you cried.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and you sweat
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, definitely.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
man.
Yep.
It's true. It's the only sport I feel like I could actually say that I did that. You know, I've been beaten down to the point where I've cried in the gym. I've been, you know, I've had my bloody noses and beaten up by all these guys. You know, I've had my moments where I've been beaten down to complete exhaustion. And then I've also had my moments where I did the same to these guys right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So you out of Alexander Academy? No, it's for sure. I mean, this is what I'm all about, man. This is why I'm glad you 3 of you showed up instead of 2. At first it was 1, and then 2, and now 3. So I'm kind of glad. I was like, shit, we need an extra mic. So was there something that was there for you on like going back to your kickboxing match? Was there? First of all, you're out of Alexander Academy as well, and they have they have like a kickboxing camp, you would say, or it's just you just trained there and then got into kickboxing. How would you like?
it's something we do to keep active.
Yeah, really. Mainly it's just training MMA, getting ready for the next MMA fight. But, you know, if kickboxing fights show up, then it's like, hey, you know, your next MMA isn't for another month, 2-3 months out. Let's not get no ring rust. You want to take this fight? And he's like, hell yeah. You know, I love the fight.
Damn, but that's the crazy shit about amateur is that you're trying to like progress in the game, and you're not contracted under one league like
Right.
fighters in like Bellator. You know,
Yeah.
no, this is like, hey, wherever the hell you guys can fit me.
Yep.
Yep.
And if this is my next promotion that I can be a part of an MMA, well, guess what? There's 1 jiu-jitsu tournament, 2 kickboxing events from here to then. I'm gonna just go in there. So by the time you have your MMA fight, it's safe to say you're beat the fuck up already in ways that maybe you shouldn't
Sometimes
be.
just some training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If nothing
No,
more, just
training.
experience.
No, training alone is an injury
And then
provoking
we
situation.
also fight. Sometimes we'll have tournaments just weeks before our fights. You know, but like personally, I've
shit.
done a couple tournaments right before I fight, and then I go and compete and fight.
My God, bro, that's insane, bro.
I mean, I take what I can get. You know, I just
Oh, yeah.
I like to fight. I like to compete. You know, I like to win. That's what I like doing.
For sure, for
So
sure.
That's why I do it.
And being that kickboxing is more limited, was there a combination that was there more for you that night that you kept repeating, or were you hitting them with things that were different? Like, were you like, for example, like if I know the uppercut's there and this dude doesn't defend it well, I'm gonna start throwing it, or was it more like, yo guys, check out this, they got this 1-2 duck under right hook again combination I got, and then check out this uppercut. How was that for you? Because you said you kept dropping him, so were you using,
Yeah,
were you timing him? Were you?
Yeah, it was around the same combo, uppercut, hook, and a straight.
Okay.
He constantly kept trying to duck under. He was just ducking too low, like it was boxing. So he'd duck under, and I just uppercuts right there. Uppercut, hook straight, he'd hit the ground. And just kept doing that over and over. When he would stand up tall, that's when I could get my kicks in on his body and legs. throw jabs, and then make him duck again, and then hit him with it again.
So you were baiting movements you expected him to do? Because did you read that early on, or is it just something that you're like, oh, most people do this, so I'm going to see if it's there and I'll just hit him with it? Was that the mentality?
The first time was complete accident. I just did it and it worked.
Awesome.
And I was like,
oh, hey, man.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to throw it to his body, and he ducked into it and caught him in the chin. And I'm like,
that works.
I'm gonna see if he does that again. So then I tested it once or twice, just check temperature in the water, and then I was like, okay, this meal is ready. Let's keep on. Let's eat. It's time to start eating.
Would you say you gained confidence from it, that you kind of started feeling? Because I felt I've had matches where I know I'm gonna win. Would you say that started happening for you, where you're like, oh man, I could win this. I could. First you doubt, but then you're like, no, I got this.
Yeah,
I love that feeling.
I'd say that. Guy was, like I said, everyone hyped him up, so I did have that little doubt in the back of my head, like, okay, this guy's pretty good. He's got more experience than me in this sport. What if he just kicks my ass? And then, after I started moving in the ring some, I just started feeling comfortable, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna have fun with this.
That's amazing, man. And I don't want to ignore the third dude. So again, say your name for the mic and walk us through either the performance you're most proud of, the moment you're most proud of, or whatever, man. Whatever you want to bring to the table that you think is like the most badass fighting moment you've had.
All right, so I'm Bishop. I guess it wouldn't be the most badass moment that I've had, but
whatever is memorable for you.
But one moment I won't forget would be when me and Jordan fought on the same card, and he knocked. What was his name? Eddie Cox.
Yeah.
When he knocked him out.
Yep.
I fought a amateur. I think he was pretty sure it was like 5-3 at that time.
He was about to go pro.
And he was, and I went all 3-3, or was it 3-3-minute rounds?
Yeah, 3-minute rounds.
With him, and
It
basically
was a hell of a fight, man.
It was. We started a riot, actually.
Nice.
When I lost, I ended up losing. He ended up knocking me out. Like
1 second.
standing
Yeah,
up.
1 second left in the fight.
Bishop was winning the fight.
2:59 in the third.
Yep.
Yep.
In
Oh,
the
fuck.
Third round. I hit the floor at 2 minutes and 59 seconds. I woke up in the hospital, pissed off at the nurse because she wouldn't take the neck brace off of me. And I was like, my neck's not broken. Get this shit off of me.
My neck's not broken.
And then they wouldn't give me any water or anything. They kept giving me ice chips, so I kept throwing that shit away. And I was like, I want some water.
Well, you were dehydrated that night too, weren't
Yeah,
you?
they put 4 IVs in me because I was so dehydrated from cutting weight for that fight. I believe, honestly, all I heard in that moment before getting knocked out was back up. And that was my corner yelling back up. I thought it was just my thoughts in my head.
No shit. So you kept hearing back up. Interesting.
Yeah, and then I realized after my coach had carried me out on the stretcher, or what was it? He carried me out like his wife or something. I was out.
He carried you like a princess.
Yeah, he really did. And I found out when I was in the hospital that I was out for so long because how dehydrated I was. Like I said, they ended up putting 4 IVs in me. They wouldn't let me leave right away. I was there overnight, almost overnight, if not. It was basically dawn when I got to the hotel room. And I mean, that was that. But I've talked to the dude, and he said he would never fight me again. Now,
Well, that was your first fight.
On
His
top
first
of
Yeah,
fight,
your
MMA
very
fight.
first fight, and you're fighting
And
someone
this dude
who's
was about to go pro. He went 3 rounds, and Bishop, you kicked his ass. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
And that's why they were telling you back up. You already got this fight. Back up.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So yeah, I wasn't piecing that together at the moment. So yeah, you were up in the cards, and your corner was like, "Hey, don't take any unnecessary risks."
Yeah, definitely.
But your dumbass problem is that you're hard headed.
He took that unnecessary risk.
I'm
You're
like the
just walking
opposite
forward.
of Jordan. There's way too much aggression in me at that point. So like, there was no listening to anybody.
Well, you're just on autopilot.
I was, yeah, and then at that time I was so tired and just,
Once you get tired,
like with the adrenaline dump, you can't lift your arms, and I was just like, fuck this dude, I'm trying to knock him the fuck out, and then I end up getting knocked out. So that was that.
Damn.
1 second.
Yeah.
Around, but we have the next one coming up in May, so. I plan on looking on and taking this dude to the ground and drowning him and cooking him, and then
You got a rematch? Is that what you're saying?
oh no, he won't fight me again, even as a pro. I've
damn it.
messaged him. I've talked to this.
Wait,
dude
you
several
okay?
times.
Okay,
He
hold on.
actually
Wait.
fights. He
You hit
fights-
him up.
Yeah, I hit him up.
DMs. You hit
Yeah,
him on the
literally.
DMs. To fight him again.
Yeah, I wanted-
Yo,
I
let me
was
tap
in
that
the-
ass.
I was in the hospital, mad as shit. So when I came conscious again, I messaged him. I was like, I want a rematch, and he said, hell no. Like, I'll never.
He didn't take the fight.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. And then on top of that, he went pro right after we fought. So
Yeah,
I
he's
have
not coming.
to-
He's
I
not
got some
coming.
ground to cover before I can get that rematch.
But how exciting is that, man? We see this all the time in the UFC where like there's a matchup that's amazing at the current day, and then they're like, oh, back in this league when they were both in the same amateur days, they fought, and look at this shit, and it's like, oh man, the current champ got whooped by this person, got a punch at the last
It was
second.
like Uriah Faber versus what was Dominic Cruz, was it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
With,
as a
where
perfect example.
Uriah had the early victory against the
Yeah,
Dominic,
yep.
and then when of course they went to Evolve, and you could see how Dominic clearly ended up being more.
Right.
So you hungry for that? Yeah. Would you say your new aspiration is to, if you when you cover that ground, is to see him again? You have to. Is that a must for you?
Yeah, definitely. This is the one dude I'll never forget. Like, this is the only man that's ever put me on my ass, and that's out of my gym, out of just life. This is the only man that's ever knocked me out. So when it comes down to it, I have a vengeance for him.
A little glitch there.
Okay, with that being said, basically, like I said, he's the only man that I'm looking to fight. In regards to having I guess what would you call it, a vendetta against him?
Redemption match.
Yeah. I mean, I've lost because I fought twice since then in kickboxing. The first fight originally, I knocked the guy out the ring. Literally knocked him out.
Was it a boxing ring? I imagine.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
He fell through the ropes. And then the second fight was for, I can't remember the promotion.
Same promotion.
It was the
I
same
think it was like
promotion?
Sun and Impact or something down in Fort Wayne.
And they cheated me on the cards, and they gave him the fight. But I didn't really mind. It wasn't really that important to me at the time. I just needed to stay fresh because I knew I was going to get cleared. Because actually, after I got knocked out, they suspended me for fighting.
Wow.
Until I got my nose cleared and my head cleared because they had, I guess I was out for, I think it was a little over 10 minutes. And
Yeah, it was a good amount of time, man.
Yeah. But I actually recently got cleared for the HFC bout that we have coming, and that's all I'm focused on right now, really.
Where's that at? Where location?
It's either going to be at the Horseshoe or in
I
the
believe it's Horseshoe again.
So it's in this area. It's all local.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
local shit. All right. So we got to talk promotion because that's one of the biggest things I do here, and I want to promote you guys. Obviously, for coming on the show. Where can people go to buy tickets? Who do they need to see? You guys need to start telling me this shit. So because I'm going.
Yeah,
I'm letting you know right now. I'm going. If my girl can't cook up something to get me out of it, I'm in it. So and even then I'll drag her ass and be like, look, this is where you need to be.
Well, I would say you could start by following the Who's Your Fight Club page on Facebook. They usually keep everything updated on there. Cool.
They're very professional.
Other than that, Jordan has most of the, I guess, experience in that area.
So what do you guys do to promote fights? Like, what's your, like, if you have a fight coming up and you want the world to know, what do you do besides shouting it out on your Insta? Like, do you flyers? You guys harass with flyers? What do you guys? I'm just curious.
They do have wallpapers. They have wallpapers that they pass out. We have them at the gym, so when people come through, we'll hand them out. Also, social media does play a big role in it. I guess that'd be one of the major ways that we get ourselves out there would be social media.
Yep.
But we all are on the same page when it comes to the Alexander Academy. And then we have a captain's page as well. And that's ran by Cole Wilkin. He's one of our pro fighters. We were talking about him earlier. Really, I guess we're just self-promoted.
Yeah.
As of right now.
But of course, this is how it all starts, right? So if I wanted to purchase a ticket for this event, do I have to go to the venue or do I go through the HFC? Do I hit
You'd hit up the Who's Your Fight Club.
No,
but-
we always post links
Yeah.
on our social media accounts that you could always just hit up and buy your tickets from there. Sometimes we do like in person buying tickets, but like for me, just this last fight at HFC, I was like, I didn't want to deal with that. It's a lot of work running around trying to give everyone the tickets and holding their money until it's time to turn it all in. So I was like, you know what? Everyone just go online, buy your tickets. It's a lot simpler that way.
Especially
then-
with the major venues.
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah.
more people that come, the more tickets you have to sell. So keep it organized. And like you said, with the Hoosier Fight Clubs, usually they have the links when they post the venues, and then we share them.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, cool. So 'cause I'm definitely like you guys. You're following me, so I need you to like for real and tag me to HFC so I can have that as my as my follower. I'm gonna definitely because I mean, like I said, we train here at Ibero Jiu Jitsu, and I got a lot of people that I know would be interested to go just to see like local scene. People just need to know. I don't think they do.
And they host good fights, man. They have some really good fights.
Are they seats or are they? Because I've seen a lot of amateur fights online, and I've never been to I've been to a lot of UFC events, but never an amateur event. Is there like where people can? I've seen it on like Cody Garbrandt. I've seen his amateur fights before he hit it big, and he was at this one place while he was fighting. I could hear people's dinner plates clinking with their silverware. Who the fuck eating a steak? I could not eat a chicken wing with a dude like and these people were right next to the ring eating. We're talking about sweat falling in their meals and shit. Like I don't want that shit in my coat, you know. Fuck man. So do you guys fight at places that have that? Is that something that you guys commonly see, or I'm just stupid? These are silly questions.
So, yeah,
No, I mean, the one where the dude didn't touch gloves, that one was like a strip joint.
Yeah,
that one was like a club. It was just like up on the cage was up on the stage,
Dude.
and then everyone was sitting down low watching. That one was the sketchiest.
So, were there strippers running the floor while you were fighting?
Oh man, I wish.
Now we know why you weren't in it that night, bro. Now we know why.
I was really distracted. I saw it in the crowd.
Alexis had me going, bro. But all right. So you guys have mentioned a lot of striking, and I think striking is what got me into fighting to begin with, right? Because when you don't know shit about fighting, the first thing you know is, well, if I hit you, it hurts, and you stop. Right?
Everyone knows how to throw a punch.
Right. Everybody knows how to throw even the shittiest punch, and it's the most instinctive thing to do, right? Mm-hmm. And I would say boxing is what got me into MMA. Now I don't watch boxing. I definitely watch MMA about 99% of the time. So you guys all talked about striking, and that's phenomenal. Does anybody have any submissions? I'm just curious. And if so, which ones were they?
Like wins?
Submission wins. Whether it's, we'll talk jiu-jitsu in a second, but in an MMA fight, have there been any submissions? I'm just curious. I'm not trying to
Not
bash.
yet.
But
No.
You guys,
I
you
came
guys just
close
go
in
hand-
this last fight. I came pretty close. But
Yeah, it was arm.
yeah, with armbar, and like I said, I messed up the guillotine.
Why did it fail? Why would you say the armbar failed? And is there a difference trying an armbar when there's gloves involved? And what do you?
Oh, it's hard. It was pretty locked in, but he was on his feet,
Okay.
and so he started shaking me off. And what I should have done to prevent him from shaking me was I should have hugged the leg with my
Hook the leg. Yep.
Yeah, but I didn't.
Because
I wasn't thinking.
Because you have to be in a fight to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
No, I totally get
I
it.
just didn't.
I'm just saying, but you reflected on the fact that the nerves of the moment got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he kind of shook me off, which I gotta say I was lucky. He could have slammed my ass into the ring, but he didn't.
That's allowed, right, in amateur?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He could have slammed me hard, and he didn't. So I got pretty lucky, I would say, because he could have definitely messed me up,
Maybe looking back at the fight, he's thinking the same. Like, the nerves got the better of me. I didn't think of that. Because you don't train that at a gym. You don't train slamming your training partners on your head. That's something I think that comes at the moment of a fight.
100%.
Every tournament you do besides MMA will disqualify you for it.
Yeah.
So I feel like looking back, he's like, I need to be. Maybe he's thinking about it, bro. So you didn't hug the leg, and then he shook it off, and then just
he
slipped
got his
your arm.
elbow past my hips,
Yeah.
and I kind of lost it from there. And then I kind of started throwing some up kicks and started pushing him back. And then I think at the very end he kind of dove in. He started to get my back, and then that was the round. But I mean, I was shooting for the arm bars. I was shooting for a triangle. I just wasn't quite able to get it. I wasn't able to lock him in like I needed to. But that's just stuff that's the stuff I'm gonna fix.
Right.
I was
those
back in
adjustments.
practice that next day.
Wow.
I was sparring. I was back that next morning at the gym sparring, doing rounds because I didn't really take any injuries.
Yeah. So you went was this the all 3-rounder?
Yep.
And then you didn't. So you took no injuries, and you're like, okay, it was only an MMA fight, and you're.
Yeah.
So this was on a Saturday, I imagine.
This was actually a Friday night.
So you went to Saturday class.
So I went to a Saturday class and just started doing
fucking-
rounds. I mean, I was pissed. I just lost the fight, so I was like, what? I need to do some rounds.
Bro, if I have just a rough like what you guys do on Fridays, which is that you got what do you call it? What do you guys call it?
Grubby grappling.
Yeah.
Grubby grappling. I think we need to. Can we steal it? We're gonna steal it.
Go for it.
We're gonna steal it for our gym. But I think if I went to one of those classes, I would take Saturday and Sunday off. And yeah, you did an MMA fight. and then you went Saturday. And
Yeah.
what did you work on Saturday? What was the first thing that when you got on the mat? Did you before I'm too many questions in my head, but for me, I would think that the first thing you do is like you sit on that mat and you're like, man, my first reflection is what we do in here is cool and all, but nothing like that shit that I just experienced in there. It was like a portal to another feeling altogether. Does that make sense to any of you?
Yeah.
Like when you get back to the
No.
gym, you're like, this is cool and all, but man.
No,
like,
it's
the
being
intensity.
like at the fight and then being in the gym's two different feelings.
Obviously.
And then
But like that,
But, like-
what was it like to you just sit there and then what was the first thing that you reflected on the fight that you wanted to practice right away, that you were just eager to you had the itch to practice or drill?
really, there wasn't anything specific right away.
Okay.
I just need to fight.
Yeah,
I was just mad. I just wanted to get back in the gym and get back to it.
So what do you want to improve on? Fight! I want to fight! I want to fight!
But then as I reflected, as finishing that armbar, hugging the leg like I should have, or finishing that guillotine, or not being hesitant to finishing the fight. That's something. And my fights before that, I didn't have a problem with. I didn't have a problem with being mean and grubby. This one I did. I wasn't in the right mindset, and I made some mistakes. So that was kind of my frustration. It's like, you know what? I want to get back in the gym and get grubby. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Kind of show myself I still have it. I still have that aggression. So I went back in the gym, walked in, everyone said hi, gave me hugs, told me how proud they were.
Of course,
And
man.
then I just walked
Of
straight
course.
to the back, put my wraps on, put my mouthpiece in, and I started doing some rounds.
Yep.
I was like, man, I just took a loss. That was the first time I've legitimately been lost in a fight. No one's ever beat me in a fight until that moment, which
Yeah.
really pisses me off. And I don't count the dude that choked me out. I don't count that. That's some pushy shit.
Yeah, right.
That-
We're dishonoring that, and it got
Right.
disqualified. So
But this guy's the first guy that's legit went 3 rounds and beat me. And so it pisses me off just thinking about it. I can't wait to get back in the gym every day. And like I said, I quit my job, so I just start a new workout program that I go lift in the mornings. Afternoons, I go to the gym. I hit the bag. I do rounds, some cardio, work on some technique on the back, like spinning side kicks, stuff like that, knees, elbows. And then that night, I go back into practice, and I work some more technique with the guys, and that's when I get to actually spar and roll with everyone.
that's amazing. Which begs the question: where did you start? Like, what was the first of all, where did you first say, I love fighting, which is what we all have to have initially, and then what was your original discipline? Were you like a kid that wrestled throughout middle school, high school? You know what I mean? Like, where did you start for you?
Man,
And
no,
I'll go around
I
the
was-
table. I'll go around the table on this one. So I'll start with you. I'll start with.
I was kind of like, I grew up in a Christian home, so I went to Elkhart Christian Academy. That's-
Yeah.
I didn't have opportunities to wrestle, but I was a hothead when growing up. I always had really bad anger issues, so I'd always fight kids when I was little.
Goddamn Jews!
Right, you could be my best friend, man. I was gonna punch you in the face if you pissed me off or looked at me wrong. Like, I had a lot of problems, and then I kind of stopped that. But then I started, playing other sports. Like I said, I played football and basketball my freshman and sophomore year of high school. And, I felt really disrespected by the coaches. Like legit.
Oh god,
Like-
he fought the coaches, guys.
This was my sophomore year of football, and my coach walked up to me and told me, and I'm not a big dude, but I worked my ass off I want to play safety. That was my position, man. Played there for 3 years. I won it the 4th.
I love defensive football. Go ahead.
And I got to hit people. That's why I love safety.
Exactly,
I got to hit
exactly.
people, and that's why I loved it. My coach walked up to me right before our first game, our last practice, and he's like, you did really good. You earned your starting position as safety. I was like, hell yeah. He's like, but you're not going to start. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, you don't have the size for this team. And I was like mad as hell. I was like, are you serious? I worked my ass off. Go against everyone on this team. I tackled everyone. I showed that my size didn't matter. I was going to get low and I was going to hit hard. And he told me, so I felt disrespected. And then they didn't play me for the rest of the year. I'm like, okay, fine, that team. But all the other teams were small shit. Why didn't I get to play then?
Yeah.
So I felt really disrespected. And then I went and played basketball. And
Another sport where you got to be tall.
yeah,
that's a
exactly.
tall sport.
I'm seeing the trend here. I didn't know where I see where the story's going.
So,
it makes sense. We're going backwards.
There was one game specifically And this was when I started watching UFC too. So throughout this whole process, I was watching UFC, and I was starting to get more into fighting. And I didn't put any serious thought into fighting at that point. But then, this was like my last straw.
How old were you at this moment?
This was sophomore year again,
So
so I was
15.
Yeah,
around there.
around there,
Okay,
14,
cool.
15.
Cool.
And so there was a game where he wasn't playing me. We're up 30, crushing this team, and usually that's when I got to go in. Was when we're up by a ton and there's only a couple minutes left. And one of my best friends looks at the coach. He's like, "Hey, you gonna put these guys in? Let them get some playing time." And he looked over and he's like, "Oh, I forgot about those guys." I was like, "Well, fuck you, man. Are you kidding me? You only have like 7 guys on the team.
He said,
How do you
"Fuck
forget?"
them kids.
And then he started bringing guys in to practice and for scrimmages. So I didn't even get to practice. And so I was like, "Fuck this." I was like, "You know what? I could fight."
Dude, coaches are
I'm tough.
Hold on. That's bullying by the coach, man.
No, yeah, straight up,
bullying,
it is.
Like, bullying's a problem,
It is.
and it's... Okay, go ahead. So you said, fuck this, I'm going to fight, because either I fight him...
I was done with it. I was
Okay.
like, I'm done with team
Yeah.
sports. I was done with sports where, I had to rely on someone else.
Interesting.
And so I want to go, I'm like, well, in the cage, man, I'm going to fight, and that's up to me if I win or lose. No one else, just me. And so I was like, you know what? I could do this. And at first it took me a while before I actually started training because I was in high school. And I told my parents, and my parents were like, fuck no.
Yeah, so that's...
Especially my mom, she hates fighting.
How did that conversation go?
Oh, it went terribly the first time around. I mean,
Obviously.
like I said, I was like 15, 16, and I told them, they're like, no, you're not fighting. And so it took 2 years of arguing with them, and then finally I turned 18. I was like, well, now I could go train. I don't need you guys. I could just go do it myself.
Right, you can sign your own waivers and shit.
And so, actually, that's when I actually finally met Joe. I was 19 at the time at this point, just graduated high school, and I went to Joe's last fight, Joe Alexander, and I saw his last fight, and my aunt actually knew him and knew his whole story about, how he went to prison, turned his life around, gave his life to God. I'm like, man, that's a dude I want to train under. And then legit, like a couple weeks later, I see him at church. I'm like, all right, God, I see. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be training with this dude. So I went and talked to him, and then all of a sudden he's like, I got some guys in the park. Come join me. Grab, whatever gloves you got. Come train with me. And so I did that. And so I started training with him, and then off and on through college, I was training with him. And, he hasn't been able to get rid of me since. I was just addicted to it. The first time I was able to spar that was a really good memory. I was back on spring break. This was my first time sparring, and this kid was fighting the very next week. I've never really sparred with anyone before. Never had too much training other than with Joe. And he's like, all right, this guy has to do 5-minute rounds. You're one of his guys that you have to fight. We sub guys in each round, keeping guys fresh, so that we're really pushing the pace with the guy that has to fight.
Right.
Like a fishbowl.
Yeah, like a fishbowl. And so I did my rounds with him, and then Joe puts his gloves on and does rounds with me. I'm like, oh, this is where I have to prove that I want to fight. And I'll never forget this. I don't even know if Joe remembers this, but after that practice, he came up to me, and he's like, I would put you in a fight next week if I could.
Oh, shit, that's amazing, bro.
And so, that meant the world to me because, I've never been in too many actual fights before. So hearing that meant everything. It really gave me the motivation. It was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to fight. I'm going to dedicate myself to this. And then as soon as I finished college, that's what I've been doing, man. 2 years straight. Haven't stopped. 6 days a week. Hours to 3 to 4 hours a day. Sometimes more of training. Even over the holidays and Christmas, me and Coach and some other guys were in the gym training. It doesn't stop for me. I can't get enough.
Dude, that's amazing. So he told you... So you basically went from being somebody's sparring partner help to make a fight... For a fight he had coming up to getting compliments of hey, man, I know you're just here to train and all that and you're sparring, but I find you're ready. Like,
Yeah.
that was like one of those moments where it's like, you are a ready student, you are
Right.
good, and you're like, fuck yeah, that's amazing, man. So you never did wrestling as a background. You never did, because a lot of, like I
No,
said,
man, I was green. You know, I didn't know a thing about fighting. I just knew I was tough and I want to fight. That's all.
did you guys? Because I don't want to forget you guys. Did you guys remember this phase in the park, or was that just something you went through?
I came in shortly
So-
after that.
Okay, so you didn't see the park phase. Were they like padded puzzle mats at the park? Or
No, we didn't have anything at the park.
What the
At the park, it
fuck?
was like under the pavilion. And we would do like our labs for warm up, and then
concrete.
And then it was like a wood pavilion that we would go up on, and we would do like our boxing and stuff. But it wasn't short. It was shortly after that. Guy, Travis, was it,
Yeah, Travis.
or was it Steve?
I think it was Travis.
Travis. It was Travis. Went up and talked to Joe, and Joe was telling him, "Yeah, we're just in a park right now." And he's like, "Not anymore. You're not. I have a basement at Steve's gym, right off of Bristol
So
Street in Elkhart."
Travis just had a basement. He thought.
And he's
cool
like,
enough
it
to
was
fight.
just open,
Okay.
and he's like, there's a bunch of junk and stuff that was in there that we had to clean out. But he's like, you could have it. If you clean it, you could use it as your own gym. So we went down there. Joe had a bunch of extra mats that he threw down there. Actually, we started on puzzle pieces on the concrete
Yeah,
there. So
that's
that's where the puzzle pieces came in. So I remember sparring on those. Or like if we were doing wall work, we would have two guys hold the wall up. Two guys would be like
No way, no
doing
way.
the wall work. So I remember doing like the splits on those puzzle mats and stuff. Like it was real shitty, but man, now we got
builds character, man. It
it does. It really
builds
does.
builds
And I
character.
love being able to say I was part of that beginning stage. You know, the humble beginnings.
Right. I mean, look at us now.
Exactly.
We're in a fucking weird ass basement.
So yeah, we get it. We get it. We get the humble beginnings.
I give you guys props for walking in here and being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go downstairs." What the fuck? Like,
Man, no worries there.
so you guys are basement cool. Yeah, that's cool, man. Where I'm from, there is no basement. It's just seawater. So this is I see these as really cool caves. So those are really humble beginnings. It builds a lot of character. And then so it was Travis that said, "Fuck this park shit. Let's just go to my basement."
Right.
And- okay. And then what was the next step after that? So your basement was cool. Who did you guys? How did this Alexander thing come to? Was the Alexander gym established at this point?
No, actually, it was just a couple of us at that point. We didn't even have a team. Like Joe, actually, he didn't want anything part of fighting. You know, it took our captain Cole and another dude Chris, who kept kind of pushing him and trying to
That
get
was Mike.
and Mike, kind of pushing him. Was like, let's put your name on the team. Let's get some fights and start pushing him. And finally, he came around and started getting those guys some fights and start turning a team. And then we started investing, a little more money into equipment and stuff. And now we got, we have a girls class, we have a kids class, and now it's just kind of like slowly progressed and exploded into this amazing team that we have. Like, I wouldn't leave it for the world. This is my team. I love this team. And yeah, I mean, we're just blessed by God, really.
No, man,
It just over the years, we just kept putting in work and kept getting blessed for it.
That's amazing. And then how did you meet these other two cats? I'll start with AJ, since you haven't spoken in a second.
I joined them about like 2 years ago.
years.
2 years ago, I joined them.
Because you
A
helped me
friend
get
of
ready
mine-
for the Eddie Cox fight.
Yeah.
Because I remember he was like a week or two in, and then I was like a week out from the fight, so that's when we do like a hard last sparring match, before we take a nice easy week before the fight. And AJ and no dude Matt
Yep.
had to do rounds with me, fresh. They weren't in shape. They had to go rounds with me. I'm not gonna lie, like I kicked their ass. And
Man, my technique was decent though, but
your technique was there, but you didn't have the cardio. So
that was when I had taken that break.
but that's how we knew he was a teammate too, though.
Yeah. Like I said, I was with another team before them. I was with that other team for about a year, and then after that, I kind of took a break, just working, making money, and then a friend of mine who trained at Alexander was like, "Hey man, it was Rico." Rico was like, "Hey man, I got a great gym, man. If you really want to get back into it," and then he brought me in, and they couldn't get rid of me since.
So Rico was just a friend of yours that you knew.
No, he's actually he's one
on
of
the
our pro
team.
fighters.
He's one of our pro fighters.
He's
shit.
one of our most talented fighters, but actually probably the most talented fighter we have by far. He's 1-0 as a pro. Everyone's scared to fight him. Legit, like scared.
Yeah.
Weight class?
135.
135. So
He's a beast.
okay.
He beat Vachi, I believe it was.
Vachi.
Beat him so bad that no one wants to fight him. And like legit, the coaches have got together and be like, yeah, we don't want our fighters fighting this dude. These guys are like 10-0 and they don't want to fight him.
He struck
And he's
fear.
only 1-0.
He
did.
struck
He
fear
struck
into
fear
the Midwest. I'll say that.
Everyone's running from him, which makes it hard for us to get fights sometimes too.
My reputation. You think that reputation spreads and it's like, oh, that's from the same
It
academy
rubs
as
off,
this dude.
like-
Yeah, it's a
Like, if
Everyone knows our team's badass.
yeah, it's a team reputation, you know. 'Cause
Yeah.
Rico's a beast. When Cole was fighting, he's great. Michael, Jordan, Bishop, you know, we've all got little reputations out there.
Not
And-
Michael Jordan as the basketball player.
No,
Michael's separate
I said
guy than me.
Michael and Jordan. You knew what I meant.
Michael, comma Jordan.
Yeah. Put the
Michael,
comment there.
Jordan.
Punctuation here. Punctuation's important, guys. So you joined about 2 years ago, and then your earlier sessions was getting him prepared for his fight. The way that you were getting that random dude at the park that you just joined. So it's kind of like this, the fight cycle. It's like the circle of life for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so go now, Bishop. How'd you?
Originally, I was brought into the game through. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Oh, perfect, man. A little closer, actually.
All right.
Perfect.
So originally, I was brought into the game through a friend of mine. His name was Bradley Rohr, and he was one of our best amateurs, I would say, that we've had in a while. And he's no longer training anymore. I think he has a couple warrants out for his arrest, actually. So we're not going to speak on that. But
I hope everything turns out for the best, man.
yeah. He brought me into the game just because he seen that I was fighting in school. I needed an outlet. I was fresh off of the football team. I was a walk-on starter for Central. And that's in Elkhart, if you didn't know.
Okay.
I was a D end. I mean, I was moving guys twice my size. I was probably like 170, 180, moving dudes that were like 240, 250. Like, you know how Penn gets. That year, I was the only D lineman to get a sack on Penn High School. So, and in that, I guess I had a little bit of hype behind me. And then he seen that I liked to fight, and he brought me into the gym. He was like, just don't come in here with that big head because we're going to lay you down. And that's what I did. I went in there with a big head and got beat down. But overall, I started to feel the family behind it. It was like, we warned you not to come in here like that. But like after the ass whooping, it was like, but now you're a part of the family.
Right.
So
Right.
It was like the initiation.
It really is. Like you have to take, not from like the other fighters. So you have to take an ass whooping from coach,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
and then you're part of the team.
Yeah.
Once you take the ass whooping from him, because he wants to see what you're made of. So once you take that ass whooping, then you're part of the team.
For sure.
You ain't gonna forget that ass whooping.
No.
No.
It's one you remember. So, would you say you were humbled when you started getting wrecked by a dude that you felt you could whoop his ass? Like you probably looked at him
Well,
like,
I
"Man, can
seen
kick him."
Coach, and I seen this 5'5",
5'6", yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, he's not gonna do much, and he tore my ass out the box. Yeah, I was like, all right, let me readjust my attitude real fast, and then I started to realize what he was actually teaching, and it wasn't to fight, but it was actually self-defense. And when that came down to it, I wanted to learn more. And then for a while, I was pretty good. I was strong on jits for like the first 7 months I was there. And then that's when I fell off and went into kickboxing. And then from kickboxing, I tried to ease back into jits, and that's when I took that first fight. Mind you, that fight, those 3 3-minute rounds, we stood up the entire time throwing, and there was no ground in there. And that's what I'm trying to incorporate into the next fight, which would be to take him to the ground and cook him.
Always improvement, man.
Yeah, definitely
You know,
changing the game.
We never fight the same. You know, we might go out standing one fight, but the next fight we're going to go to the ground. You know, always trying to improve different aspects of our game. You know, we never try to be the same person. We're always trying to be better.
Would you say that you put a lot of emphasis into like wrestling takedowns? Would you guys do a primarily, because there's different types of jits, right? There's different types of jiu-jitsu. You have your you're at the gym with a gi on. even if it's no gi, right? You have this approach where you're doing deep half guard and all this bullshit that an MMA fight would get you killed.
Right.
So do you guys do a lot of like wrestling or MMA type grappling that is
Incorporated.
Yeah, more like
Yeah.
because there's certain grappling that you do when you want to practice for an MMA specific fight. I can imagine. I could be wrong. You guys jump in and correct me.
That's
No.
that's what our Saturdays were for. We were getting Jordan ready for his fight. Came in Saturday morning.
And Fridays.
Yeah, and
regular
Fridays.
grappling.
Throw on the MMA gloves and have hard rounds.
Do you guys just do grappling rounds with MMA gloves just to get the feel of what it's like to control opponents with the MMA gloves?
Yeah, because it's hard. It's a lot harder.
Very different.
I mean, it's
It's a different feel, even from kickboxing, because the gloves, the size different. And then on top of that,
Yeah.
when you go from not getting punched into the face to, oh shit, there's a kick, you have to incorporate it. You can never really be too ready for it, but you can prepare yourself. Like, we like to work off the wall a lot in the clinch.
Right.
And then that's one thing that Jordan was working with Joey a lot, and that's one thing that I personally like to work a lot to work off the clinch, because then you have your knee taps and you have all your setups from there. That way you're not risking if you do go for the double leg, there's a reversal and all of that. That's why I say I like personally working off the clinch.
Clinch being the aggressor, meaning pushing him against the cage.
right. Yes.
Yeah, because that's a very common tendency, right? Like if I'm against a dude who's a great wrestler, if he's shooting, the first thing I'm gonna do is get my butt back to the cage and just try to keep the hands as separate as I can. Separate. Hold one wrist down and then try to circle away from the cage. So I can imagine you guys. But do you guys do? I guess what my question is do you guys do a grappling only, but with MMA gloves, just to give you a feel for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Fridays and Saturdays, especially closer to the fight, it's just with the MMA gloves on. Grappling, getting used to, trapping the hands and the arms. Because, I mean, sometimes they grab your wrists and it's hard to break free. You got a lot better grip. And vice versa, you grab someone's wrist and they're wearing the gloves, you have a lot better grip to control their posture and their position and keeping them from throwing those punches. It's definitely a different feel than not having anything at all.
Oh, I could definitely see that. Like just the very fact of having to how you can get your seatbelt grip. You have to get one arm. Sorry, you have to get one arm under the armpit and then one over the shoulder to get the seatbelt grip. That must be a bitch to do. I've never tried. I've never put on an. I mean, I've sparred with MMA gloves. Trash. We're not going to talk about that. But again, I can imagine it being a mother just having to slide a seatbelt.
Yeah,
grip
try
up.
swimming.
Just if the guy does this, or what adjustments do you? What? Yeah, everything's a setup.
Yeah, there's ways that you kind of learn to create space, and a lot of it's you throw some strikes.
Yeah.
You hit a guy, he's gonna loosen up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of it's you're gonna throw a knee, he's gonna loosen up a little bit, and that's when you kind of shove your arm in to get the underhook, so you can start working your takedowns.
It comes to mind. I don't know if you guys ever saw, but BJ Penn, Kenny Florian, he had him with both hooks in, and Kenny Florian's just a very decorated grappler, so he knew to avoid but then BJ Penn with his hook starts hitting him like this, just like
a little
and
leg
sitting
kicks.
him with little kicks to the ribs, and when Florian went to block one, there was the rear naked. Do you guys like fucking with shit like that?
Like the little taps
then-
and stuff, getting people to move. Yeah, we do that a lot. Like Bishop's actually said multiple times, we call it cooking your opponent. Okay, we try to cook you. We try to slowly work you down and make you just want to give us like an arm to arm bar or give us the choke. So we'll hit you, we'll hit you in the body, we'll hit your legs. We even joke around, but we call it ass hammer, man. You punch them right in the ass.
Hammer.
Yep.
You got a bunch of nerves down there. It really fucks you up.
It does, man, and you have to stand up on that. You're not going to shoot the same. You're not going to press forward when you have to box the same.
And you don't have to hit hard. It's just those little repetitious hits, man. Just over and over, and it builds up, and they start swelling up, and it makes it hard to move. So yeah, we try to cook our opponent with those little moves, and then when they're ready to give up, they'll create that opening for you, and that's when you go for the submission.
Awesome. So none of you have an MMA submission yet. I think with all this Mac talk, I say no balls. One of you go for one next fight. I mean, you guys always probably will. It's a matter of like
If it's there, I'm taking it.
for sure. So we definitely have to after this podcast, I definitely gotta get on this page with you guys because I definitely want to go to as many amateur events and put you guys out there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So who has the next fight? Who's likely to fight next? And maybe you guys don't have a schedule.
All three of us are fighting on the
Same
same
card?
card. Yep.
Same card.
Yeah. So we-
HFC.
What the fuck? You guys are
Well,
crazy.
actually, we
Yeah,
have
the
one
kickboxing
before
is
that. We
before
have
that.
kickboxing.
I forgot about
So
that.
this one's kind of keep us active, but me and AJ are both fighting for titles. So I'm fighting for the 135-pound title.
Kickboxing.
Yep.
Kickboxing amateur title.
And I'm fighting for the 125 kickboxing title.
I had the
135,
170. I had the 170, but I kind of fucked that up by talking to the fighter.
What did he tell his mom? What the fuck happened?
Basically, he went to his manager. He told me that he wasn't ready to fight me and that he needed more time. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Not knowing about it, but not knowing that agreeing to that would take away the title fight.
Moving silence, homie.
Because it could be, how Conor McGregor didn't want to fight, so they stripped his title. We could have forced the dude into fighting Bishop
And
by saying, like, well, you're the champ, you have to fight. You don't get to, but because Bishop was talking to him and kind of agreed, oh yeah, you can have more time, it kind of messed up his chances of forcing the dude into fighting us.
So he was a champ,
Yeah,
Yes.
he was.
and you had a chance to take the belt.
Yeah, and mind you, this dude is like 16-6, and I'm 1-1, and he didn't want
Yeah.
to fight me.
Fuck, that'd be super.
People are scared of us, man.
Well,
They're scared to fight us.
No, I'm sitting here like you guys are crazy. So okay, you're 1-1, and you essentially psyched a guy out of a 16-6 fight. Is it okay that he hears this? Would you want him to hear this?
Honestly,
We're not saying his name. We're not saying his name, right? Or we can't.
I wouldn't care. I mean, I'll say his name. If you want me to.
I was like, yeah, maybe he'll fight you now.
Oh,
Maybe he'll be like,
It's,
you know what?
Good night, good, and that's who he is. But no, I don't have any like vendetta against him. It was just like more or less because we're cool. I've known him. I followed him on Instagram. I never thought I'd see the day where I had to fight him.
Right.
Yeah.
So when he was talking, we were just cutting up. I'm thinking like, well, you just need a little bit more cardio or whatever. Put in some work. Go ahead, take what you need. But we're fighting in April.
Right. I mean, we got, 8-9 weeks?
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
plenty of time to get in shape for this fight,
And then coach pulls me off to the side when I go into class the next night, talking about you lost your title fight, and I'm like, why? And then he explains everything to me, and yeah, so he didn't want to take that fight. That's okay. He said he would fight me though. He would, just at a later date when he had more time. So, I mean, I'm still gonna go for that belt just to see what it do.
And that's at 170. And is that where is that? What is that going to be through the HFC, or is that going to be?
No, that's a kickboxing.
Kickboxing.
No,
you're
so
gonna
I think it's Buck Wild.
Buck
Yeah,
Wild.
Buck Wild
promotion.
kickboxing.
Is that also local? Like, right, I don't have to
Down right in Peru,
Indiana.
It's like an hour and a half away at the.
The National Guard Armory.
Yep.
So okay, I'm not from here. Is that north, south, east, west?
South.
That's
It's like an hour and a half away.
Yeah,
It's
we're
not
at the
very far.
tip of the fucking. Yeah, we're at the
Yeah.
top.
It's hard to get more north than Indiana than
Yeah.
what we is.
I told you before the shit started, I was like some stupid shit. This is like number 4. All right, so who's the closest to all in the same card, all of you?
Yeah, so
Yep.
we're all fighting at the
When is that?
April
April
11th.
11th.
Okay, so it's about a month and change. We got about a month and 2-3 weeks. All right. And the name of the event again is
Buck Wild. I
Buck-
believe is Buck Wild.
Like, well, do you guys know? Is there going to be like how many fights are on the main card? You guys make up 3 fights of the main card? You said.
Yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
there'll probably be, I don't know, 10 fights. There's usually around 9 to 10 fights.
And how do they go? What are the rounds?
It's a small promotion. It's not super big.
So is it like how many rounds? 5, 4, 3?
The title fight's going to be 5 3-minute rounds.
yeah,
The
3-minute
normal fights are 3-3-minute rounds.
Okay, so we and all of you are in the 3.
Actually, I think there's
Oh no,
amateurs is 2 minutes, isn't it?
Oh, it
they're
is.
3.
Were they?
I thought it was 3.
No. It was our amateur fights, our last kickboxing fights.
Oh, you're
were only
right.
2
It was
minutes.
2
There
minutes.
3 2-minute
so
rounds.
the amateurs are 2.
Yeah.
3 2-minute rounds.
They were short. There was like 6 minutes of fighting. So I mean,
they were 2 minutes.
So, I mean-
Alex out the.
short rounds like that, you go in guns a blazing.
That's what
man.
I'm saying. You
Yeah.
guys. I mean, have you guys ever watched the Bengal bouts at Notre Dame? I don't know if you ever watched that. It's
Mm-hmm.
a basic like amateur boxing tournament they do, and because it's only I think it's only 2 rounds. Or I don't know how many rounds there are. I should know this. I go to it. It's just bob and sock 'em in the middle. So I'm guessing that's what this is kind of a little bit
Yeah,
like.
no, that's exactly what it's like. You go in there and you're ready to throw, you're ready to take some hits, and then you're ready to give some hits.
Do you know the scoring system? Is it like a 10-9 for the winner, and then if you can knock someone down, you get a 10-8? Does it work that way in kickboxing? You guys are like, damn, I
I
don't
know
know.
that if you get three
I don't care.
three knockdowns in a round.
We just show up and fight.
Yeah. If you get 3 knockdowns in a fight, they
TKO.
call
TKO. That's standard. But do you know the scoring system? Like, is it 10-8 if you get a knockdown? I'd be curious, but again,
I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I'm not
like I
sure.
said, we show up and we just fight. We don't concern ourselves.
I like to fight.
Our mentality is like we're just gonna finish it. We're just finish the fight, and then we don't have to worry about the scoring.
yeah, just tell me what I can't do.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Tell me where I gotta walk through, and where the ring's at, and let me make sure my opponent's there. That's all you guys need to know. So
Exactly.
that's pretty cool. So has it happened where you train really, really hard for a fight, and you expect, so you get your cardio ready for these 5-minute rounds, these beast animalistic rounds, and then you go to a fight, and then 2 minutes feels like Walt Disney World, where it's like, man, this shit's cake. Did you have it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys prefer it that way? All day, every day?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd rather
I
be-
mean,
Why else, right?
I'd rather be overtrained than undertrained.
Right.
Yeah.
And but what I'm getting at is that you. So I guess the problem there would be, if I'm taking wild guesses, is that because you're used to such lengthy rounds at the gym, like you said, you might not be appreciative of how short the rounds are and how little time you have to impress the judges in the event that you can't get a knockout. Is that a fear of you guys, or not? Because you guys
No,
are just
actually-
always pressing. It doesn't fucking matter.
Actually, I see what you're saying. That actually was kind of a problem in my last fight. My fight 3 weeks ago was that I was doing 5-minute rounds, and this was just a training flaw that me and my coach have talked about, and we're gonna change it. But like I said, my cardio was good, but my pacing was off. So I went into that fight, and it was only 3-minute rounds. I was ready for 5 minutes. So like I wasn't going as fast as I should have been. So yeah, that definitely could be a problem,
I
is
could see
doing too long of rounds. So we've already
Yeah.
changed that. Like me and AJ Tuesday, we did 3 minutes on the clock with like a minute break, and we just did round after round after round, but we kept it high volume every single round.
Yep.
Not going over the time, making sure we took our break, and then as soon as that timer hit, and it was time to go again, we went back at it. And we just did round after round instead of doing
Non-stop.
5 minutes, so that we can learn the pacing of what we need to do.
And it's a minute between rounds.
Yep.
The
1
standard
minute.
shit.
Yep.
Adrenaline dumps. You guys ever experienced that?
Oh
Or-
yeah, I have. My last MMA fight, I had a really bad adrenaline dump, and went out. Felt good for first little minute, danced with the guy a little bit. Adrenaline dump. My arms felt so heavy. Threw a punch, it landed, but I couldn't bring it back to guard quick enough, and my hand dropped, and he took advantage, knocked me on my ass. I tried
It was a
to, I
hard
recovered. Oh yeah, it was a good one. I tried to recover. We grappled. I took him down, but then he was able to put me in a guillotine right when I took him down, and then that finished
triangle.
it. That was a guillotine.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought he was on triangle on top of you.
It was a guillotine.
Shit.
Oh man.
Those
Yeah, I
hurt.
never forgot because I knew it was one of those.
way.
It was one of those. The guy hit hard, but he did not have cardio. He
No,
was
if he would have made it to the second round.
first round.
that was
This
your
guy was sweating bullets. He was breathing so heavy, like he needed the finish because he wasn't gonna last 3 rounds with me.
fight. You only needed a second.
And it was like 8 seconds before the end of the
I'm pretty sure it was
round.
a second. You only had like a second left, and then you tapped.
Yeah, but
Either
That's
way,
when I took a
you only
page
had
from your
couple
book.
seconds left.
that's why I'm taking a page from your book from now on. No more tapping. You either put me to sleep or kill me because I'm not tapping them.
But man, that okay, top mount guillotine is a bitch because now they've got gravity in their favor, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sure he popped his hips open. That
Yep.
come on, man, that's
So yeah.
yikes. I mean, even if I don't want to tap, it's that there's some moves that are not painful and put you out. Like a triangle might not be
Oh,
the most painful,
Yeah,
but you're
sometimes
out.
it's just like a neck crank. It's just
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is not bad, and then your blood flow's cut and you're fucked.
Yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't more. He wasn't choking me, but the pressure he was putting on my actual, like on the spine, on the back of my neck, it was so bad. Like I thought my spine was gonna break. So I was like,
God.
yeah, no.
Look, I'm okay with you tapping there, bro. Honestly, like I would like to, because so far the craziest hospital story has been yours from this episode. I'm not saying you guys haven't had worse ones. You said you woke up. The first conscious moment you had was at the hospital.
Was in the hospital.
That's fucked, man.
I guess Wendy said that this is Joe's wife, our coach. said that I was throwing up, and I don't
She's
know.
also our manager.
Yeah.
You were throwing up unconscious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
That's sad. Your girl was a mess too. She was crying.
Yeah,
And
my cousin was trying to jump over the cage and slapping 10-year-old kids. And
It's your fault.
You know,
it was bad. He started
fuck them
rioting.
kids.
Why did your parents ever say no to fighting, bro? I mean, this is some bullshit.
I don't know, man.
So
It's
that's
still
why
a mystery.
I was gonna say that because when you said you woke up and you wanted water and they kept giving you ice cubes, that's it right there, right? They didn't want to keep inducing vomiting. If you would have kept taking fluids, it would have just shot back out. Were you concussed?
I did have a concussion.
Fuck.
I did. Nose was fractured, and what is this? Like the eye socket?
Orbital?
Yeah,
The orbital?
Yeah, orbital.
Oh god.
I had a fracture underneath there.
Okay, so you had fractured nose the same night.
The bridge. Yep.
Bridge of the nose.
And the orbital.
An orbital, and then you were unconscious from the one that put the lights out. Woke up in the hospital.
With the neck brace on. Shitty as hell, bro. I was so mad. I was so
Oh, I
mad.
bet.
Like I
A
kept
10
going out, but every time I wake up, the neck brace would be right back on. And I'm like, dude, I just took this shit off.
Yeah.
Wait, you kept waking up and going back into sleep?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that's insane. I mean, what was okay? You know how when you wake up or something hurts, was there like something that was painful at the moment besides obviously the fact that you got hit?
Oh, no, I have a picture of it on Instagram. If you want to
Yeah, definitely. By the way, before the episode ends today, whenever the hell that is, up to you guys. You guys need to shout out your own Instagrams, and I want you guys to shout out, of course, your academy word for word, how it's all the underscores.
All I felt.
This table is so goddamn sensitive. Is this you, man?
Yeah, that's me. That's me. You can't really tell because my face is swollen, but yeah, that's me.
So it's Bishop Tyrese.
Yeah, that's my Instagram.
Cool, man. I'm gonna follow all of you guys before we leave today, because when we get videography, I do want to put these up. This is some crazy shit.
And I'm smiling in the picture.
That's what
I
I'm.
remember the picture being taken.
That's what has me captivated is that I'm looking at this and you're like, cheese. What do you mean cheese, bro? So they've got towels taped to your chin, and they've got towels on each side. That was the neck brace?
No, I kept taking the neck brace off, so they did that.
Oh, so they were. But man, obviously, this is this is not a laughing matter. I do think injuries are they're very legit, and obviously we prefer them not to happen to any of you guys here. You know, especially when you roll with your brothers, you don't want to see them like this, and we make fun of the situation because you look back and you're okay now. So under that light,
so we could laugh.
yeah, under that way of thinking, man. So they put towels around your head
Yeah.
to stop you from being able to reach into your neck brace, bro. This is impressive, man.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't really recall the night that well, but I just know I was getting pissed off because I wanted some water and my mouth was.
It was a nasty knockout.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not gonna lie. Kudos to the dude because it was a good knockout.
But I got fight of the night, so hey.
You did get fight of the night. It was a
Now,
bomb
does
fight,
that?
man.
So that's my next point. This table's so sensitive. That brings up my next point. Thanks for sharing that. Like I said, when we get videography going, man, I really want to put this up with your permission, and we'll.
Oh, for sure.
That way, it's like people are like, Jesus, these guys are savages. What was I going to say? Pay. How does pay work?
So for the pros, there's usually, you work it out with the promoter, but let's say it's 500, so you show up, make weight, and then 500 to fight. So you can make 1,000. It depends on the promoters. Like HFC, you get up to like 1,500. As amateurs right now, the only money we make is off the tickets we sell.
Wow, so
So-
it's like a promoter at a club. Like
Yeah,
you get
So I got a percentage of the tickets I sold off the last fight. I think I sold like 100 tickets, so I made like $180, which basically goes right back into the gym, pays for my gym fees.
Right, pretty much.
Yeah.
So as amateurs, we don't make too much.
But with the kickboxing, though, I don't know. They try to take our ticket sales away from us at the last bout, and I end up coming home with almost $300 off my ticket sales because I didn't give them shit.
Yeah.
I see. So you keep that shit for yourself. And now, you mentioned fight of the night. Do they have those bonuses?
You get like a sword or some.
What
some
the
bullshit.
fuck?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you,
they
that's
give
it,
you like
got
a trophy or
You got a
something.
katana last time.
It
Hey, I was
depends
jealous.
on-
I was like, damn, I wish I could have knocked my
Bishop
dude
got-
out. That
we
was
all
cool
got like
as shit.
medals, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got medals. He
Look,
got a damn sword.
Bishop
I'm
got a
like,
sword.
I want-
Yeah, I definitely did not want that damn sword. I wanted wanted a damn like ribbon or something, something I could wear, not a sword.
Please enlighten me. What kind of sword? Is it like a toy sword? Is it legit?
It was a legit
It
sword.
was legit.
Did you cut them with it after they gave it to you, bro? Like,
I was
with
like,
the paycheck.
no,
With the paycheck.
Give him a quick shank.
They gave it to me. I just looked at them like, what the hell is this? Like, I wanted like a ribbon or something I could wear to
Or hang up on the wall or something.
I was
A trophy, something.
definitely going to trade it for a necklace, someone else's ribbon. I was wanting to, but no one would. No one wanted the sword.
They should give some kind of incentive. Like, if they charge for parking, like, give you a percentage of what they made on parking. Something that doesn't cost them shit that they can pay you for the fight of the night. Because at the end of the day, what brings people to these fights is, yo, this guy's last fight was insane, win or lose. And I feel like your value as a fighter, you know, your wins are cool, and that's always going to be what promotes you. But I feel like the guy who brings a dogfight every time, I feel like that, like El Sucio, that was his brand. People loved, from what I hear, watching his fights because Sucio's Chavez, the dudes you guys train with.
Yeah.
You see him, he's crazy, and that's what people like to see. And you obviously seem crazy, and I think you deserve more than a sword. Sword and is like, all right, and so I mean,
Right now as amateurs, we don't get too much, you know.
and I understand
We
that, right?
get-
Because
You know, our name recognized and a little promotion.
right, and of course the venues are also trying to make. I mean, they're trying to make money too. They're not trying to pay
Right.
you guys too much because they're also a very amateurish venue where they don't have.
No,
and they
it's
have
not
to,
UFC level.
right, and they have to put, and they do have to put together the ring, right?
Yeah.
they
You
have
gotta
to
pay
the-
for everything.
I mean, you
It
guys
costs a lot of money to put it on fights, man.
It
It's
does.
expensive.
The lights, the referees, the association fees you have to pay. The fact that you guys are committing borderline murder in there. You're simulating murder for people's entertainment. In some cases, people that eat steaks while watching the fights. And then on top of that, they have to find a way to, like, you know, get all that to be sanctioned, et cetera, et cetera. By the time you think about it, man, and the judges that have to go there and spend their time. I mean,
Right.
I think it's an
And hotel rooms, like they provide hotel
Yeah,
rooms.
they provide
for you
hotel
most of
rooms
the
with
time.
us.
Wait,
Yeah.
so when you guys travel,
So
do they
HFC,
cover?
they provided me 2 nights in a hotel, so that the day of weigh-ins I got a hotel room, and then the night of fight I had a hotel room, so I didn't have to drive an hour and a half back after I just fought. You know.
That's crazy. So they do pay your hotels even at the amateur level if need
Yeah.
be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they even give me some gas money.
Yeah, they do.
I
that.
say
side.
some of them will pay you like.
So it
a
depends on the
mileage or
promotion.
gas.
Some of them are really great. Like HFC is phenomenal. You know, very professional. They do what they can for you. They treat you very well. A couple of the other ones that we fought on, they were like very first time promotion, so they didn't really have money. They probably lost money, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, starting off, you probably don't make too much with your first promotion, so you don't really get too much, especially as an amateur.
And since you guys are in the amateur, like, matchmaking is also at the amateur level. So you know how in boxing you've got your own manager who helps you with matchups and stuff like that. How does this work? I know you mentioned earlier your coach says to you, "Hey, you lost the fight that you lost your opportunity to fight this guy because of the fact that he's taking time off or whatever." Is like the gym coach the one that sets this up, or
No,
is
that's
it?
his wife.
No, it's
Yeah.
Wendy.
Wendy's
She's
are
our manager.
yeah, she's like the team mom / manager. She literally all the background work she does. Our gym would not be functioning if it was not for her.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to
Big
Wendy,
shout
man.
out to
Appreciate
Wendy.
what you do. Shout
Yeah,
out to
she's
Wendy
amazing.
for
Shout out
sure.
to Wendy.
So she's like the woman that, like, makes the curtains go up and down, the show
Yep.
run, and then you
Yeah,
guys
exactly.
you guys walk out there with your tap dancing
Yeah.
shoes, and then of course kick people with them. So Wendy sets up the matchup. So
And then Joey, their son, he's the one that does the scouting. He's the one that like watches them fight. And he's like, "Oh yeah, this is a good fight. We should take it." Like,
Okay.
And like like I said, he's only 14, but man, he knows how to pick apart fights. He knows how to look for the weaknesses. And he's like, "All right, here's what we need to do." And then Joe, he's the coach, so he comes in. He's like, "All right, we got the game plan. Here's what we got to do," and we just work it with him. And then Wendy's the manager who sets up the fights, gets the contracts and everything together. I mean, they're a pretty dynamic team that works in our benefits, and
Yeah.
we love them for it. They're incredible.
And so how is it that so from beginning to end, how does a matchup start? Like, hey, we noticed this guy, he's got a fight, or he doesn't have a fight yet. So does Wendy contact the?
Yeah, the promoter. So she talks to the promoters. They're like, "Hey, we got this guy. Do you want to fight him?" And we'd be like, "Yes, no, or can we look for someone else?" Kind of deal. With our team, we usually just say yes. And
Yeah,
like,
we
you
don't
want us
just
to fight
take it.
that guy? Yeah, sure. Let's go for it. You know, we like to fight the big dog. So if they put someone else, like I said, I just fought the #1 dude in Indiana's at 125 amateur for MMA.
The
You
best
know.
fights are always the hardest ones, man. It's
Exactly.
just-
Yeah. We usually fight the people that no one else wants to fight.
That's crazy. Oh man, that is Like that's very motivating, man. The fact that you guys have it feels like I'm sitting in a room full of people that don't have a fear of things. Like you only fear the potential for yourself to disappoint yourself, but you don't fear the potential of someone
No,
else.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not afraid to fight anyone, even if you're bigger than me.
Hell
I fight
yeah.
bigger guys than me all the time, and I get my ass whooped. I'm not afraid of that. What I am afraid of is letting my team down when I lose. Like that's
the worst.
That's what hurts.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
when I
That's what
lost
hurts.
3 weeks ago, that's what hurt because I knew the kids were watching. I knew my team was watching, and I knew I didn't live up to my full potential. And so that's what hurt the most. Is like, man, I knew I could have done better. I know I'm better.
Damn, I find that really interesting. Two things there. One, the fact that you left team sports because you didn't like the whole depending on other people thing, but yet the most team sports, the most team atmosphere you've ever felt or connection or bond has been.
Right, and I didn't know that until I started doing
That's beautiful.
You know, I thought it was like individual thing. I thought you showed up, you just sparred and fought a bunch of guys, and then you went and fought. You know, I didn't really think about how it's more of a team sport than any other sport.
Yeah.
So without these guys, I would not get better.
And what Coach always tells us too is like when you're walking into that cage, you're carrying his name, which is our name, which is our gym. So you're carrying everybody who put the work in with you into that cage with you.
Right, and that's probably my biggest fear is, you know, letting them down. You know, I know I'm carrying that weight, that team on my back. You know, representing. So losing, you know, stings because not because I got beat, but because I feel like I let my team down. You know, that's if someone legit goes out there and kicks my ass, all right, you know, I'll get better and I'll come back even stronger. But letting the team down is probably the biggest thing for me is I don't want to let these guys down. You know, I love my team. I love my coach. I love everyone in there. You know, they're incredible. They push me past my limits all the time. They encourage me, you know, when I'm down, just in everyday life. You know, when I'm just going through a hard time, you know, they're the ones that are picking me up. You know, they're the ones holding me together.
For sure, man.
If I had to say, like, the closest way that feels, it would be like if you have a baby and you've been caring for this baby and, you know, this baby just brightens your day up and then you fuck around and drop the baby.
You fuck her
and
up.
you just feel horrible. Like, it's like, that's what I feel it feels like. You just dropped your baby.
You feel terrible after a loss like that.
Yeah. And then it's like, man, I hope this baby don't look at me no different. Like,
Baby ain't stupid.
is
Baby
you gonna
knows.
drop me again? So that's definitely the worst part about a loss is that feeling.
Yeah.
And would you say sometimes you acknowledge it's irrational? Because even though you lost and you thought you let everyone down, normally what happens is everyone's proud of you. They're like, man, no, we can't.
Exactly.
And you're like, man, I'm being irrational, but fuck it. I can't help but feel that, like, I know I'm better, and that's enough for me to be upset and feel like I let all you down. Even though all of you are saying, man, you did incredible. You almost had it. Like, you know, we have pride in you, and you got so much potential. You just got to keep training, and you'll have better moments.
Right.
And you're still there beating yourself up. I think that's beautiful, man. I think it's what I think it addicts even more. It makes you more addicted. The fact that you have that potential to always be upset with yourself. And there's been times where you can probably win and still have that inner voice go, you won, but man.
Oh yeah, even my wins, I'm like, I could have done this or I could have done that.
But but of course you won, so you kind of just like, hey, whatever, fuck it, let's
Right,
party, right?
right.
But when you have that feeling and you lose because of it,
Yeah.
Dude, it's rough.
It's really rough,
It's a
yeah.
heavy feeling, man. You know, it's something that's hard to come back from. But, you know, it's a
Would
fight
you-
game. We're going to keep pushing
that's
forward.
right. And at what point do you find yourself fueling that into positivity? Is there, because you know, you hit the rock bottom feeling where you're like, fuck, this sucks, but then like you said, you show up to the gym the next day. And then is there a point? How soon would you say it takes you to have that feeling of like refueling the sensation of a loss into, yeah, fuck that. That's yesterday. Now this is today and tomorrow.
I mean, for me, it was pretty quick. Like, honestly, when I was at practice that next day, you know, I was already fired up. I'm like, I would fight again that Saturday. I was legit. My coach says, like, all right, we got to fight. I was like, all right, let's do it. Like, I want to get back in there. I'm pissed off I just lost. I know I'm better than that. I want to get back in there and show everyone how great I am. You know, I know I'm a champ. I just want the opportunity to show everyone. And so for me, it was right away. You know, I wanted to get back in right then and there and fight. I would have fought that night again if I could have. You know, I was mad. You know, I just took a hard loss, and I immediately turned it back into something positive. There's always, we never say there's really losing. There's always learning.
Yeah,
Always learning. Especially as an amateur, you know.
Yeah, you know,
We take a loss as an amateur, guess what? When we go pro,
The whole
that
record's
record's
wiped.
gone. That amateur record's gone. It don't matter.
Yeah. When do you know when that record becomes legit? Because you'll see a lot of fighters come from other organizations, and they'll have a pro record. I guess you'll know your first pro fight is this one, for example, right? That's the way it'll happen.
Yeah.
It won't catch you by surprise. Like, oh, by the way, that fight you had last time that was semi-pro was technically pro. You're fucked, or you'll know, like, hey, by
No,
the way,
you actually have to apply for your license. So right now we have our
Yeah.
amateur license.
Oh.
You have to get licensed
And
and pay
then
fees.
when you go
and all
pro, you
that.
have to apply for your pro license. And that's when everything goes to your official pro. And once you go pro, there's no going back either.
everything that happens from then on out will
Yep.
be a
Yep.
permanent record for the rest of your
Permanent
life.
record.
Yeah.
So that's why
Makes
as
sense.
amateurs, it's important to just, don't take the loss too hard. Just learn from it, get better. Because when you go pro, that's when it matters. And that helps, taking a couple losses.
Yeah.
That helps knowing that because I'm like, well, this doesn't mean anything. No one's ever going to look back. When we're in the UFC one day fighting,
Hell yeah.
no one's going to be like, you remember that time you lost as an amateur?
Be like,
No,
Be
no
like-
one's going to look at that.
I had many amateur losses that I forgot. Which one are you talking about? Like,
Right.
like, did you see my knockout tonight? When we talk about the knockout,
Exactly.
Tonight? Yeah, man. So your path is pro. The light at the end of the tunnel for you is
Yeah,
pro. There's
100%. I'm all in.
anyone else?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
you
want
we
my
live, eat,
biggest
breathe
goal
this shit.
my biggest goal is to stand there and fight the best fighters. That's really what I want. Every fighter I fight, I want them to be the best fighter that I can fight at that moment. And then once I beat them, I want to move on to the next level. I want to keep improving, keep fighting, fight the best people. The person that everyone's like, hey, don't mess with that dude. I'm going to be like, oh, word? Hey, homie, come here. And I want to fight him.
make him drop his baby.
Keep pushing myself. Yeah, man, you're going to drop your baby today.
Exactly.
Fuck them kids. You dropping them today.
That's really funny, man. You gotta coin that somehow. You gotta coin that, man. This is golden. So fighter nicknames, you guys. So first of all, do you have? I'm gonna go around the room. I'll start with you since I never have. Fighter nickname, and where did it come from, or was it just random shit you just spat out one
Okay.
bar one night?
So I have more or less two names.
Okay.
One was because I started, and when I came in, I had a baby face, so they called me Baby Bishop. And
That's good.
That's for Wendy. That's basically like my godmom. And she's my manager as well. And then I have Purebred. And Purebred came from coming fresh out of high school, not knowing jits, not knowing stand-up, and taking in everything Joe had to give and making myself into what I am today.
Right. So everything you learn
Yeah.
is 100% from
Joe.
Joe.
Wow. So you had Baby Bishop.
Yeah, that's Baby Bishop.
Small. It sounds like a small chess piece. And the second one, what you got?
It is Purebred.
Purebred. I like that one, man. Which one do you see yourself using more?
For a fight, it'd be
Yeah.
Purebred.
I say, yeah,
More or less in the gym, it's Baby Bishop.
Don't no random person come up and call him Baby Bishop. He's gonna lay you out. Like that's reserved for Wendy,
Oh, no, can't have that.
So purebred.
Yeah.
That I like that one, man. And of course, once you get older, the baby face starts to go away. Purebred stays forever. Gotcha, man. So now fight name, and how'd you think of it? If you
I don't
one.
have one.
Cool. So you are. So when you get introduced, you are
Just AJ.
AJ. Cool, man.
Yeah, we kind of
Over to Jordan.
Coach is, the ones that assign our names. We don't come up with our own.
Yeah.
So for me, actually, Wendy, she's the one that came up with mine. They call me Spirit Filled.
Spirit Field.
Spirit Filled.
Okay, all right, spell it for me. I'm not hearing it.
SPIRIT.
Oh, Spirit Field.
Yeah.
Okay.
Filled.
Okay.
Filled with the Spirit. I'm a Christian man.
Oh, Spirit Filled, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm Hispanic as fuck.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. So Spirit Filled. That's great, man. So
Yeah.
when your name, so the ring of your name, the full name.
Jordan Spirit Filled Santiago.
Oh, you're Hispanic too.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
cool,
Yeah, I got
cool.
a little Puerto Rican in me.
Nice.
He doesn't know Spanish, though.
No, I don't
Yeah,
know
no.
Spanish.
Yeah.
I just look it.
That's cool. So Spirit Filled. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So I got that because, I went to church with Joe and Wendy, and, me and Joe kind of, when, we need spiritual advice, we kind of bounce stuff off each other. We try to grow spiritually together a lot, and we try to hold each other up. And that's kind of how I got my nickname was, they kind of knew me as the ones like, hey, you need some prayer? Bet, I got
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Just hit me up, let me know. You don't even have to tell me what the problem is. I'll just start praying for you,
It's the only man I know that will beat the hell out of you in front of your family and then be like, "You need to pray. You need me to pray for you. You want to pray about it? Like, we can pray about it
We
and
joke
stop this from
about-
happening again." You know.
We like to joke that, I got two sets of hands. I got hands of healing and I got hands of pain.
Yeah.
You're gonna receive both. Don't worry.
Oh my God, damn it!
That's gonna be a T-shirt right
Let me
there.
pray for you, man. 'Cause look at you now. You made your wife upset because she just watched you get beat up. I'm gonna pray for you.
I'm
Though.
gonna pray for you.
I'm gonna beat you up, but then I'm gonna pray for you, man, because I'm a nice guy.
So you said spirit filled, was it self-assigned, or they gave it to you and you just
They
like,
gave
oh,
it to me,
oh man,
and she said it for a while. And it never like registered to me that was my nickname until the Eddie Cox fight where I knocked him out, and it was right before that fight. And she's like, "You're spirit filled. That's your nickname." I'm like, "Oh, it is, isn't it?" Finally it just kind of clicked, and then everyone was making like their poster boards and stuff because they go to the fights cheering, and they make custom made poster boards for us.
I think
and-
mine still said Baby Bishop though.
it
It did me dirty.
I'm still waiting on mine, like I'm waiting on my W-2s right now. I'm just waiting to get it.
Man, I think we covered a wide range. I don't want to keep holding you guys hostage. I just want to let you. We're at an hour 49 right now. I think it's a good point. So
man.
so
Time flew.
to wrap it up, it does, man.
let's
And
wrap
here it
this
does, bro. So we're nearing the 2 hour mark. This is a great opportunity since we're all starting. Shout outs are important. So if you want to start with like however you market yourself, whether and of course your gyms are all the same, so we're gonna stick to that.
Yeah.
So whatever you are, whatever you want, and whoever you want to shout out to, people that have helped you along the way, anything, whatever you want to close with.
All right, so again, I want to shout out Wendy, definitely Wendy, my manager, my godfather, Joe, that's my coach, and then Joey, which I consider my brother, and then the rest of my team. Wouldn't be where I am without them today, and basically we're gonna keep working hard, and this next bout, I hope you have us back afterwards so we can elaborate.
Hell yeah,
on-
dude. I mean,
on what
it's up to you guys, really. I'm going to be here.
definitely. But yeah, man.
Cool, man.
Well, hey, shout out to Wendy, Joe, and Joey. It's a whole Alexander family, my brothers and sisters. And yeah, we're gonna go out here and make magic happen.
Yep. Follow us on our Facebook page is Alexander Joe, just J-O, Wendy. You follow, that's our team page, so if you want to keep posted with all our events and stuff, go to that. We also have Alexander MMA and Alexander Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So we have 3 different pages for Facebook.
And then you can follow the Alexander Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram as well.
Yes.
Awesome. Jordan, Santiago, and then I only have AJ from you, and I think that's good enough. You're
AJ
like,
Frazier.
AJ Frazier. Okay. And your full name would be, you already said it, is Bishop?
Pure blood. Or purebred, either one. But then Slayball, that's my last name.
Bishop Pureblood or Purebred. All right, cool. So the only honorable way to end this is if I would have to roll with each and every one of you, and I get the smackdown from all 3 of you. So and you guys are also welcome to come to Hebero Jiu-Jitsu. I know that you guys do more.
For sure.
So we're more of a traditional type school.
Mm-hmm.
So we have MMA fighters, but it's not really an emphasis.
No, our Monday, Wednesday classes is just jits. It's very traditional.
Right. So you guys are always welcome to show up. I mean, obviously, and I hope that I can just show up one day and just roll with all of you. I have to get back on it. I've taken a 2-week hiatus, so everybody's kind of hating on me for it. My gym, you know how it is, bro. It's like, you took last week off, you scrub. What'd you do? Play video games? You dumbass.
Right.
Get your ass back in here. Is the lady talking shit? Because we need to talk to your lady. Is that how this is?
Right.
So I'm gonna close off with one last thing that I think is special, and I think it's the in between moments of when you're training. And like one thing I love about what I do, at least in just jiu-jitsu, is that after 5 o'clock, everyone goes home to the same. No offense, I hope I don't offend anyone here. This is just an observation of mine. Everybody goes home to the same routine. Everybody goes home to the same you got to do this and a bunch of shit that nobody really wants to do. Meanwhile, we go to a place where people just kind of like care about each other. Yes, what we do is combative physically. I get it,
Yeah.
but we make sure that no matter what we do to each other, that we toughen each other for tomorrow, and that we make sure we can return tomorrow. But the most beautiful thing is after training, you're just sitting there and you look around a room full of dudes that have places to go but want to be there, and they're just sitting around the map. You know, like when you sit against the wall and you're just tired and you're resting and you're pretty much the end of your training, and you're just it's story time breaks out between little cliques around the gym, and you look around and you go, man, like this is this is so long as I'm young, I never want to leave this place. I mean, there's stories to be told. Everyone's talking shit and telling their story about this girl they saw or the last fight they had or some smack talk. And then somebody starts doing, hey, can I drill this one move with you real quick? And everybody just breaks into little cliques. And you look and you're like, yo, we're all sitting on the floor. Like every grown-ass man right now is on a couch. We're on the floor for 2-3 hours after our jobs. And maybe some of us quit our jobs. So maybe, but my point is that I find that such a beautiful thing. And so I think that's kind of like what I'm addicted to is the whole thing around it, like just the lifestyle around it. And so next time I have you guys over, I want to recap your fights. If we have videography, or you know what, let me be positive minded. When we have videography, that picture of you smiling is worth $1 million. And I definitely want to, if you guys, obviously with your permission, is to get like your fight footage for better or for worse. Think and like analyze it, talk about it, and of course, one thing we didn't touch on today, but again, we got places to be. The dieting, man. We don't. That's a fight within itself.
Yeah, that's
I avoided
dieting is way harder than actually training.
I avoided the tough subject but again, next time I want to know a little more about what you guys do to get, because the body has to feel right, and I feel like a lot of times you can undereat and feel like shit. A lot of times you overeat, and I want to know a little more about what you guys do to keep yourselves on track, your nutrition. So. Until next time, I'm Studio Z. This is Game On Sports. I hope you guys got this far because these gentlemen have been phenomenal, and we're going to repeat. So Twitter, Game On, everyone, and Instagram is Game On Sports Podcast. See you guys next time. Thanks, guys, by the way. You guys rock.
Thank you.
Okay.